I've even seen triple Sentinel on this map because this is so or such a defensive sided map. Try to
Yeah.
front load all those rounds early on or late on. So I would not be surprised to see that. I've been seeing a lot of Viper recently. I've been seeing Brim. Split is one of those maps where there's just such a wide agent pool. I think
Yeah.
we could see just about anything.
And I think a big factor in that the variety of these agents, I think a huge factor is the verticality on this map. Similar
Yeah.
to Icebox, there's a lot of ups and downs on this map where specifically both heaven sites, A and B heaven, you have this huge, probably 15-foot drop down. If you have a raise, if you have a jet, really any duelist will do. I mean, anyone with vertical issues like or vertical abilities, I should say, like Omen, I mean, you're gonna be in a good spot, especially
Yeah.
if you can react quickly to those situations. But we do have a double sentinel setup here for Pyro and company, and that is going to be, I believe that's area of effect. Yes, but I'm not seeing a double duelist. We got
Oh,
initiators.
yeah, it
Okay,
looks like
it's
it looks
huh.
like we're getting the double controller on the side of Silk Road, which is also a very good pickup here,
Yeah,
especially because Viper does kind of fill the role of a pseudo Sentinel herself. So I'm not
yeah,
surprised to see that. The Astra pickup is also really good. I love seeing Astra pretty much on any map now because especially after her nerfs when she was the dominant controller and like the only one that really was ever used in team play, it's just seeing her on any map is just so nice because that global utility is just so useful. The concuss, the suck as well. I mean, despite whatever nerfs, she has constantly been a pretty good agent to pick up. So I love to see her get picked up here.
I'm sorry. I, it's called a gravity well, Soren.
I gotta
The
have my
suck,
fun where I
man.
can. I gotta have my
Oh,
fun, man.
you're worse than Edu, man. The suck. Oh. For any parents watching, I promise we're gonna keep it. We're gonna try to keep it PG. But no, you're right. Astra is definitely Astra and
Oh, a little
issues.
bit of a
Everything's
technical
fine.
issue.
Everything's fine. Don't look at the screen. Everything's fine. We had a connection issue with one of the coaches, I believe. We're fine. Everything's fine. Again, like I said, if we're gonna have tech issues, we want to have them before we get them in, before we get into the game. But we are getting those R's again. We got the map back on the screen, back into agents like, but like you were saying, Viper and Astra, they are controllers, but they are both very, very good at filling in as those quote unquote
Yeah.
sentinel fill-ins. You know, like Astra specifically, very, very good at just sitting still. She's not a very flexible character. She's not Jet. She's not Raze or Neon. She's very, let me sit still, place my Astra stars. She is good on the move if you know how to use that gravity well or the suck. If you know how to use those the nebulas, I think you're gonna have a pretty good start with Astra. Viper is same. Viper's pretty good on the move, but in general, those are both pretty sit in corner characters, not really in corners, not camping, but you
Yeah.
know, they're basically like you said, they're pseudo sentinels, and they can fill those roles, they can fill those gaps in the composition, and I think these are two solid picks in terms of agents here, and I am interested to see we have a double sky set up. We have a sky on both sides for Silk Road and Area of Effect, so that's going to be interesting. Double flashes. We also have double heals for the side of Area of Effect on defense, where Silk Road only has the one heals. It's only the sky. We're not going to see that double sentinel. We just have Killjoy over there on Silk Road. But again, we haven't really seen these two teams very much. So we have a lot to learn, a lot to unpack here. And it looks like a full 5-stack setup already for Silk Road going towards A. Vix, it's not tagging anybody at all with the Ghost. It's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. They are just brute forcing their way through. They already have taken Haven control, or excuse me, Heaven control. There's only
Wrong
one
map.
defender really even on site sitting back towards screens. So site is practically theirs. They should be able to get this spike down really easily as well. And this defensive team, I'm a little bit worried because despite having a raise and a sky, I feel like the retake potential is not terribly high. So they're gonna have to take these fights very carefully. And oh, Glyph,
Oh, Glyph.
no, I think he's got him on the flank. They're not even gonna think to look for him. He'll find one, swing through and find two as well. The last three sitting in pillar, and one by one though, despite the nice pickup. That's an easy round for the attackers.
We were talking about that sentinelity, and Glyph, the only sentinel for Silk Road, wasn't even being a sentinel. They were being that lurky durky initiator off to the side and just sitting in a corner waiting for the rotate to come through, and it ended up winning the round for them. If you look at this replay here, just lurky durky like a turkey, just in the shadows. I don't know. I just came up with that. I like it, but they barely noticed that Sky was taken out there. The last second, they're like, "Wait a minute, there's a person behind us. We should do something about that," and they did, but a little too late. But no, the first round in the way of Silk Road, that's a pretty strong start for Silk Road. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how Area of Effect fights back here now that they have, or now that Silk Road has some guns on the board. Glyph, for instance, is going to go full Phantom with the Light Shield. So it's going to be interesting to say the least. But Dim Sum, again, playing this lurky durky style.
Coming online, finds two, only 30 health left to work for, but CJ's weak themselves, and they are just going to use that snake bite to get away. The attackers playing a much more default setup and punishing the defense for it as they try to take some aggression of their own. Notably, though, they really won't have much in terms of Viper utility to try to prevent a retake here, but they have the mana advantage already, as well as the health advantage. Sky is very weak, though they could still possibly use the Sage Heal. This attacking side has been very clinical these first 2 rounds. Sight is just so easily being taken.
Yeah, I mean, Silk Road definitely showing their experience here, getting on. They had one player make a lot of noise towards A couple people rotated out, and it just gave them just enough space to work with in order to get bombed down on C. Pyro mid-air as Glyph takes out Shondex as well, and that's round 2 in the way of Silk Road, where a lot of deaths have occurred on the side of Area Effect. That's a lot of money out the window, but now they're going to be able to get some buys on the board, some rifles coming out from Area of Effect, so it's definitely very nice. Again, Area Effect on defense, Silk Road on offense, on attack, so now we're getting rifles across the board, a couple Spectres here and there, but in general, it's going to be rifles everywhere. Glyph, by the way, 5-0 as a Sentinel, not your job to be getting kills, but by all means, be a rat joy. We love watching it.
Absolutely. As the resident KJ main, I love to see the attacking Sentinel do well. I mean, especially on this map, the lurking potential is just so strong. You can find a lot of value here. But looking at the current setup, the attack now, you know, first round favoring A, second round favoring B. Now it looks like they're going to try to take mid, and they will find the opening pick for the round. So despite technically this being the bonus, bring 3 rifles in. This is still easily convertible, but it looks like the defense might have the read here. 3 already sitting on A. Meanwhile, the rest of the attack is making their way through sewers over towards it. And there we go. That flash from the Sky will give away some information. They'll know someone is coming through. The dog will confirm that Sky's there as well. And the defense is rotated through. This could be a very deadly push through if the attack try to force this.
But Paint living up to the name, the Paint shells slowing down the push on a ramp here. But Glyph now with the attacker lockdown underway. CJ, you got to get out of there, man. You got to get out of there. Just back up, try to play time, use those flashes, slow down the push a little bit like you have been. But no dice, nothing, nobody caught in the lockdown. But again, this is going to be an interesting push. 20 seconds on the clock. Dim Sum finally gets a pick on the board, the second pick, I should say, but CJ is holding this angle beautifully, ready for Neon to be there. Jet goes down, 3 versus 4, 3-man retake here. Shondex and company have to be perfect on this retake, or it's just going to be utter hell to get something done here. But the thing is, Silk Road's post plant, their angles, they're all covered. They got the Killjoy turret, they have all 4 of them on site and ready. I mean, they're locked down pretty smooth, but Shondex doesn't care. Picks up 1, picks up 2, 3 HP, and a damn dream picks up 3. Shondex puts down Glyph. Dim Sum, you gotta cover your homeboy. No, that's the wrong person, but it's fine. Vix covers his homeboy, and that's gonna solidify finally a point on the board for Area of Effect.
Weapon here.
I mean, it was a really good hold from the attack. Like you said, they were in the correct positions. They had the perfect crossfire setups, but unfortunately, Monzi is just not being held at the split perfect time. Shondex runs through, finds the two, as you can see in the replay, and then it's just clinical. Like you said, 3 health and a dream, and is able to do it. Dim Sum Boy, unfortunately, stuck in the back, cannot find the kills needed. I mean, it's a nice rebound, especially as that was a 3v4 coming in a 4v5, constantly at a disadvantage into that round. But that being said, there was a little bit of a buyout coming out from the attack side, but they still are able to afford the full buy, including heavy shield. So this is going to be a full buy round across the board, and both teams putting a lot of pressure onto this mid space. 3 and 3 stacked up, and it's a perfectly read situation. 2 attackers on
Oh,
A, 2 defenders, 3 defenders on mid, 3 attackers. They are just reading each other like books right now, and it's just a matter of who's gonna find the opening pick and start this round off in earnest.
yeah. Unfortunately, that oh, the dog not able to find anybody but Paint ready, sitting with the judge, but Glyph finds him barely with the headshot. The heal immediately comes out, and that's the blessing of having a double heal. But Neon's reaction time there rips the head off of Vix's shoulders. Beautiful shot, and right off the bat, it's a 2-body deficit for CJ and company, but the flash comes out. Got it light, gets one down, but Monsi's there for the trade. Pyro is in a great position to do some great damage, picks up one. Fletcher, the trades are coming out left and right. Silk Road is so dominant on these trades that they're only going to lose 2 bodies and still be able to take site. Shondex goes down. Unfortunately, the Sentinality, the double Sentinality, really for the defenders here, is not panning out the way they needed to. This is not a great start for AoE.
Yeah, very unfortunate in the replay. You see CJ there actually had a really nice flash. And if they had anything better than a Spectre, I think they do get 2 there, which would bring
Yeah.
that back into their favor. But unfortunately, the Spectre is shooting, peas at the attackers, and as well Neon turning on, I believe it was this guy, finding that kill when they needed it most. Very well played coming out from the attackers. They're now 3-1 up in the round count. And we're seeing this default come out from the attackers. They're showing presence over towards B. They got the Viper wall over towards A, and we have these 3 sitting in mid. And it looks like they're going to be favoring one of these 2 routes. It looks like they're going to be taking Nest, which is the correct move here. As there is a 4-man hold on B. If they try to take anything in B heaven, they're going to be running into a fire squad. Oh no, the read. Maybe it's not perfect. They're second guessing.
Oh man.
Okay, they're at least pulling it off. I thought we were about to see a massacre up in Haven, but they are going to be walking back through, and there was actually a little bit of a move over towards B Heaven. So
Pyro.
Raj should be the timing was
Pyro, go
so
back.
unfortunate.
Pyro, turn around. The timing, it's all about timing here. Pyro had the angle, but he just got a little impatient, backs off, but it's fine because he bought enough time for his teammates to rotate. Neon picks up one, Glyph as well. Neon's having some trouble capping Pyro, and Pyro with a right click mid-air is going to put him down. Monty there for the trade. Now it's just CJ all by the lonesome in a 1 versus 4 on the retake. Grab a gun and save. That is the best case scenario for CJ here. I don't know what just happened.
They didn't get spotted. That flash was still behind the wall, so they're gonna think this is clear.
There was no sound indicator there. That was very strange, honestly. I thought I don't know. But again, CJ not in a very good spot here at all. Just gonna play for picks at this moment. I think they know where he's at. There's only a handful of places where CJ could be posted up here, and that's gonna be Heaven or Alley, and they know he's one of those, so they're not gonna push anything. They're just gonna play their angles, wait for Bomb to do its thing, and just back off site and save all their guns because they know that he's playing for weapons. And for some reason, he's going to go in for the latest ever defuse. Shocker, it didn't work, but that's fine because he died to Bomb, so it's a little extra money. But again, if you look at the replay here, Neon doing a phenomenal job of entering site, doing exactly what a duelist should be doing, creating space. But unfortunately, Pyro right there with that beautiful right click immediately gets shut down, and thus creating more space for the attackers to get bomb down. I didn't even know, what is this bridge? I didn't know this was a part of this map. What? This is cool. Oh, it's right
Oh,
up
it's right
there.
above spawn.
That's
Wonderful.
cool.
This is a perfect time to shout out as well our broadcast team behind the scenes. I
Yeah.
believe we have E Jinx and I Go by Ben as our producer and observer today, as well as the wonderful tournament organizers that have been helping us out all day. Wonderful people. Go check out their Twitters, go check out all their socials and stuff. Amazing human beings. But looking into this round, I mean, it was really well played because actually, despite losing in that last round, CJ was able to get a little bit of a loss streak bonus, and they died to Spike, so they get their ult point. So, and they didn't feed a kill over to their opponents. So
Yeah.
it was actually pretty good play all around the park. But looking now, the team has a full buy coming through. And they're trying to put some pressure into this mid again, trying to stop this pressure that this attack has been constantly putting on mid. And they're putting 3 there to try to push it off, but there's actually a rather heavy lean into Garage. 3 sitting there already. Neon having popped the ultimate, the Blade Storm online, going to be going up against Vix, who is holding this corner.
I've got your
The
trail.
defense has confirmed to take mid. The Seekers are going to be invested by the attack. That's going to find a lot of information. Vix is not going to be able to find that. And one by one, they all just fall.
Oh no! And we talked about it earlier. We were afraid of a massacre happening down mid. It just happened on B site suddenly. It's Shondex in a 1 versus 5. Unfortunately, was on the opposite side of the map. I don't see this panning out the way they need it to. But again, anything could happen. It's live. Anything could happen. It's not completely impossible, but it's not the position that you want your Cypher in. So he's just going to find a corner, tighten up with that weapon, save it for next round, because once they lose this round, it is going to be not great for the money situation. But I do have to give it to Silk Road. They've been playing very patiently the last couple rounds. They like to play a little slower, whether they head towards A, B, or mid. They more so just play for information, play for picks. Who, if they kill 2 on B site, they'll push B site, or they'll get 1 kill on B and rotate all the way back to A. Just make noise, get information, and then make a decision on where they want to plant bomb. They're not rushing in. They're not dropping bodies left and right. It's just kind of, or I should say, dropping teammates left and right. They're very strategic in these moments. Silk Road, they're playing nice and slow, nice and they're thinking about what they're doing. Is what I'm trying to say. It's not just a run and gun situation. But again, area of effect here. Gonna go ahead and call a timeout because I mean something's going on. They need to figure out where the gaps are in the defense, and they need to address those gaps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hate to be the one to single one person out, but it's a little unfortunate. You're looking at the scoreboard on your screen right now, and I've got to mention it right now. Paint the Rays on the defensive side, 0-6-0. They've been putting a lot of pressure onto that mid space. We saw them actually take it in the last round, but right now this Rays utility is just not finding the value that they probably were expected. Sure, this is the defense. This is not the side that, you know, the Rays is supposed to pop off on, but having 0 kills on your duelist on the either side is really not amazing. But that being said, it's pretty much across the board. Right now, the top frag on the side of Silk Road, excuse me, is only, on the side of Area of Effect is only 1 kill away from the bottom frag of Silk Road. So it's a little unfortunate all the way around. They need to start taking some duels. They need to start winning some of these duels out, because right now, it's exactly like you're saying. Right now, the strategy is find an opening pick. Find one and then capitalize on it. But Shondex finds 2 immediately.
Spike down A.
That's a great response. That's an early 4K for either side, round after round.
But now it's Glyph, the rolls. Oh, how the turntables. This is not a good spot for Glyph to be in. Finally, AoE has the upper hand here. They've had the Sage Wall completely blocks Glyph off of bomb. They're not going to be able to retake Spike, at least not yet. They're working their way, trying to find some kind of angle here to work with. But, I mean, with Pyro and Shondex both holding this, really don't see this. Oh no, Vix on the flank, but whipping the shots. There we go. Third time's the charm. Glyph goes down. That was just so unfortunate for Glyph. Stuck in a 1v4. The wall just not where he needs it to be. And finally, AoE gonna go ahead and get a second on the board after suffering 3 losses in a row, round after round after round. Silk Road finally starting to slow down their momentum here, but they still got the money, right? So, and that's the problem. They still have the economy to work with. Even if they lose this round, they're still gonna have money. So AoE has to find a way to solidify their hold here. They have to put a dent in this economy, or Silk Road just going to go ahead and keep bouncing back.
Yeah, absolutely. But noticeably, saving 4 people in that round is actually going to really help their own economy. They're actually almost on par with Silk Road because 4 of them were able just to pick up the rifles that they were able to steal away with just sheriffs. So they're in a really good spot coming into this round. Meanwhile, the attack is going to be putting a lot of pressure onto this A site. So much utility is already being used. This Viper wall that has been used every round now is actually going to give some value over, and it's going to stop any defensive random picks. Meanwhile, this defense playing a little bit risky here, pushing 3 up through mid, and will run right into the attacking side, trying to rotate through. That's going to cut them in half, and Pyro is going to invest the ultimate to try to bring this back into their favor. Now 5-4 after that. And for the first time in a long time, it looks like Area of Effect have a pretty good stance in this round. I could see them easily running this through.
Yeah, but again, Silk Road playing nice and slow, getting the information, but unfortunately not getting the advantage. Monsi goes down as well, and there's less than 30 seconds on the clock. Shondex puts down Neon. That's the duelist out of the way. 2 versus 4 as Shondex goes down. The trade comes through. Dim Sun Boy watching heaven, but not going to be enough. Takes down Bix. Pyro there for the trade, and now it's just Fletcher in a 1 versus 3. The bullets are coming from every direction. He has no idea what to do with himself. Does take out Paint, but unfortunately Pyro is there to seize the day with 3 kills under the belt. The double heals coming out for the win. 3-5 as Area of Effect starting to close the gap here.
Yeah, absolutely. Really well played for them. I mean, good for the side of Silk Road to be able to get the spike down. That will give them a little bit of extra money, which will be funneled into Neon on the Jet. Don't get that confused. Who's actually going to be picking up an op on the attacking sides here. Meanwhile, they can't even see it, but it's being matched by Paint on the Rays, who's picking up an op on their own. The economy finally in a really good spot for this defensive side that they can start taking these aggressive plays, these risky plays at least. And meanwhile, the attack is going to be putting some pressure onto B. Pyro is sitting there now with the operator in their own hands. It looks like they're just going to try to wall this off, get an ult orb, try to get some sort of advantage after Glyph finds that first kill.
Oh, Pyro. Could be deadly. No, barely skims the shot. Nano Swarms provide a bit of damage once his Pyro up that angle, but Glyph got a little too antsy, runs right into the crosshairs of Pyro, and that's going to take the Sentinel off the board. Now the 1 duelist for AoE off the board, the 1 Sentinel for Silk Road off the board. So retakes are going to be a little difficult for Area of Effect, and post plants are going to be a little difficult for Silk Road. So, I mean, this is still anyone's round. 45 on the clock. Bomb heading towards a site, but it's all about this entry here where we're going to see Dim Sum Boy, and I think that's Shondex getting ready to go at it here. Dim Sum Boy, you got to know. Yeah, they got to know. Cypher locks down that area every time.
30 seconds left.
Not super predictable, but common enough that they're going to be ready for this setup. But Neon ready with the dash. The wall comes out from Astra. Neon on site. Vix, he's in the bubble. There we go. Headshot. Another headshot. The trade finally comes out. Shondex picks up the controller. 1 versus 3. Monsi, you gotta do it, my man. No dice. Shondex puts him down. Shondex has been going huge on solidifying these rounds. The last couple rounds, it's been him at the last second doing whatever he needs to do to get the points on the board. And finally, it is not finally. They've been going on. AoE's had a roll. They're now 3 in a row. It's now 4-5. I mean, the fact that a moment ago it was 5-1 and now it's almost tied shows how much Area of Effect really does understand this game and they understand each other. The cohesion is really coming out here. But I do gotta say, Glyph, you're killing it, man. 10-4 as a Sentinel. That's not your job, especially on attack. You shouldn't be doing that, but he's doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's actually quite scary if you're on the side of Area of Effect. Because even though you're getting back into this game, you're bringing the round count a little bit more even round after round.
Yeah.
And Glyph, coming up online on the attack, you know that they're going to be online even more on the defense. Again, as the resident KJ main, I know the value she can bring to this map. So very, very scary. And they're going to put a lot of pressure onto this mid. CJ does find Neon, who pushed through the sage wall, through the smoke. Very unfortunate. Maybe a little bit overzealous even. Meanwhile, the attackers have made their way onto site. The spike should go down following this KJ lockdown as well. And now these defenders are going to be having to play in the post plant. Though they do still have paint, so they're in a pretty good position, especially as they catch Dim Sum Boy, on the rotate over. Now in a 5v3 position, the attackers are going to have to play this incredibly intelligently to bring this back into their favor.
Yeah, this is going to definitely call for some big brain maneuvers. Fletcher pushing the spawn. I don't think that's the best thing he could possibly do, as Shondex is going to spot it, but it's fine. Okay, takes out Monty and himself. What is going on? The kill feed is Rainbow. 1 versus 2 now. Fletcher, the Astra, full HP, a Vandal in a Dream, bomb planted. All they have to do is play time here. Vix, the fellow Astra, hops on bomb, but the gravity well going to deny the defuse, at least for now. Still possible. Pyro goes down, but Vix with the trade, but no time for the defuse. Fletcher saves the round 6-4, but you have to give it to Vix for the effort there. Gets the trade. Unfortunately, not going to have the time they need to get the defuse off. But again, both these teams so solid so far. It hasn't been a complete one-sided yet. A lot of times, especially on a map like Split, we will see a crazy first half, like 9-3 or even 10-2 every now and then. But both the fact that AoE is keeping up with Silk Road, and not even that, the fact that Silk Road is ahead of the game, the fact that we already established that this map is pretty defender sided, and AoE is kind of dropping the ball a little bit. They're starting to come back a little bit, but they dropped the ball early on, and Silk Road is just very dominant considering they're on the deficit here. But I'm going to shut up because Pyro is going nuts.
I mean, yeah, that's just a massacre in mid all across the board. That is going to be, what, 6 people down in mid alone, as now Fletcher had to clutch it up for their team in the last round. Is going to have to do it again. It's going to be very tricky. They know where the spike is. That flash is also going to give the information that they're going to be in market. They know exactly where to look. They know exactly where they're going to be coming from. Fletcher is going to have to overcome all of the odds here, especially as defenders are going to be playing this very passively. Will be noted. Vix tries to get the kill, but will not be able to find the bullets they need. There we go. The concussion comes out. Doesn't hit Fletcher, though. Still in a pretty good spot. Still has a lot of utility. Get a smoke off the one, but now the defense, they're just going to play this super aggressively. They know where to look. They're all just holding this angle. Fletcher takes actually a little bit of damage there. The shields are gone. And I think this might just be it. Fletcher looks like they are just going to play this a little bit more patiently. 20 seconds left on the clock. It might just be a save angle for them here, as this seems like just a incredibly strong hold. And yeah, we're gonna see Fletcher finally walk away, save that rifle for the next round. Don't beat any more kills over. It was a valiant attempt, but clutching twice in a row is just not gonna happen here.
Yeah, exactly. Unfortunately, AoE, well, unfortunately for Silk Road, fortunately for Area of Effect, they just held that mid presence so strong. All they had to do, they knew they had bombed down. It was smoked off twice. They have the angle. All they need to do is sit there and wait for Fletcher to push that. And he was smart enough to not do that, not feed in, keep the gun on the board, because now you're broke. Look at Silk Road's economy. It is not looking good. We have 2 Vandals, a Sheriff. We do have 2 ultimates, though. We do have the Viper's Pit and the Seekers coming out from Dim Sum Boy and Monsi, respectively. So this is not an impossible attack situation here. But you also have to look at the fact that all the rifles ever are on the board for Area of Effect. Not to mention the Resurrection coming out from Pyro. So this is definitely going to be one hell of a fight for this last round. It's the last half. It's the last round in half. Excuse me. In the first half, I can speak. Oh, three-man push to bench. Neon leading the charge for the judge. It's making me
Ooh,
nervous.
that judge can be so useful here as well. These tight angles on this map lends itself to the judge so well. And it does look like they're going to be favoring just putting as much pressure onto this mid as possible. 4 currently sitting there. The only one sitting off is going to be the Asher sitting in garage, which means they're probably going to be leaning over towards B unless they can find a pick. But this defense, they know they're going to get a scrappy buy. They know they're probably going up against like judges, so they're just playing this as safe as possible. And interestingly, we're going to be seeing the Viper's pick get dropped on B, but in B heaven, that's going to cover the entirety of the area. That could lend itself really well to Neon with this judge. But this defense, they know what they're running into. They're refusing to give away anything as they just start backing away. They don't want to give any free kills. Pyro finds that opener. Glyph finds a trade, though. And Sight is the attackers to take.
Planted.
Yeah, not really the best position for for area of effect, but that's going to help their cause quite a bit. Dim Sum Boy, the controller, out of the round. The Viper's Pit has been knocked off the board, and now it's just a 2-body post-plant hold going up against 4. The numbers are in favor of AoE. The satchel comes out to provide the cover for Glyph. For that raise. Glyph gets sidestepped. Monty now in a 1 versus 4. The defuse is underway. Paint gets his head ripped off, but it doesn't much matter because Pyro puts it down and solidifies finally that satisfying ending to the first half. It's going to be all tied up 6-6. This is still anyone's game in the second half.
I mean, yeah, massive comeback from area of effect, able to secure out, actually only dropping 1 round, I believe, after their timeout. So very notably there, that's a really good adaptation for them, shows their flexibility, at least on this map. Really well played for them. A little bit worrying for the side of Silk Road as they just kind of collapse besides that 1 round where they were able to sneak through a time victory with the spike going off. So a little bit sketchy across the board, and we're seeing some interesting pickups here. We're going to get 2 frenzies on the side of the attack, going to be probably taking some very aggressive angles early on. That being said, we're going to see a lot of presence over towards A, as this is practically a 5-man push. The Astra playing a mini game right now, setting up their stars, as the attack is going to be putting a lot of utility into heaven. Glyph tries to take that sneaky peek through, will spot the sky, but will not get any damage out on the board. And the attackers, they're going to pull away. They might just go for a rotation here.
Yeah, whatever the case, if they're going to commit to A or rotate, they have to cut noise completely. They have to just slam their pinkies on the shift button and just wait for information. We still have a minute on the clock. All 10 are still up. And Soren, you were talking about area of effects flexibility, not even just flexibility, adaptability. Like you said, they only dropped 1 round after that forfeit. Wrong word. After that timeout came out, they sat there and they reevaluated their gameplay, what they needed to adjust, and they adjusted it almost perfectly and allowed the tie to come through. Now, second half beginning. Dim Sum playing the rat game of a lifetime, picks up 2. Paint denies the Killjoy alarm bot, but Glyph gonna deny the survival instincts to come through for Paint. Glyph picks up another one. Sentinel on Sentinel violence here, and Vix goes down for number 3 for Glyph. What a maniac tonight. 17-7 on the first round of the second half. That is a 8-kill carry on the, not carry, but 8-kill difference on the first and second frag. But again, Dim Sum in this corner. That's not what a controller is supposed to do, but it doesn't matter because Dim Sum and Glyph are going to slam their heads together to combine one big brain, and it's going to allow the 7th point on the board for Silk Road on the defense now. And I just want to, I'm curious to see how AoE is going to respond to this now that they're, they're actually not going to buy. They're not going to force this round. Okay. All right. Let's see how it pans out.
Yeah, that Killjoy setup is actually almost exactly what I was talking about earlier when I said I know how much value that setup can bring. It completely locks down A, which you can see is definitely shaping up how this map is being played, seeing as that was a 4-man peek at least into Garage, maybe hoping they wouldn't run into much resistance, but they are in fact going to. Sean Dex is just keeping an eye out, making sure no one's pushing up through A aggressively, but they don't need to push up through A aggressively because they got this site on lock. The Killjoy setups there. They got Astra utility. The Viper wall is also cutting off Heaven as well. So they have all the support they need despite Glyph being the only one. And that Jiggle Peak is going to give away so much information. The spray down is going to do some damage as well. But no push yet as they're just waiting to explode onto this site once this wall drops. Oh, that raise grenade is so unfortunate.
Oh, right as you said, the wall dropped and all hell broke loose in Heaven. All 5 of AoEs come just pouring out of Heaven like batter out of a waffle maker. I don't know what's happening, but Monsi is not in a good spot. Does a good amount of damage. Everyone on the attack is so hurt that Fletcher's able to come through, pick up a 3-piece. Neon finishes it off. My God, arguably Monsi won that round. The amount of damage that was dealt on site is just abysmal, and Silk Road is able to secure the 2nd round in a row, bringing it to an 8-6 scoreline. Monsi and company getting, I mean, I was going to say they're getting a grip, but no, they've had the grip. They're regaining their grip, I should say. They had that grip early in the first half. Now they're going to go ahead and get another grip. I don't know what I'm doing with the word grip right now, but I like it. But nonetheless, AoE finally going to be able to get some guns on the board here. So let's see what they can do with them.
Absolutely. You saw the replay there. I mean, that Sky just lining him up, knocking him down with the Spectre. That close range angle, you can find so much value, especially on the anti-eco rounds when you're only rocking the Judge and the Spectre. So looking into this round, this is going to be the bonus. So the attack does have full rifles on hand. Neon, the only one with anything better than a Spectre in the form of a Judge on the defense. And there's actually a pretty heavy lean towards mid and A for this defense. Meanwhile, the attack all set up in Garage. If they explode out here through this smoke, or now once the smoke drops, they could overwhelm Fletcher and take site easily, but doesn't look like they're going to. It looks like they're putting a little bit more pressure towards A. We see the smoke go on the mini map, as well as the small flash from the Sky won't give anything away. So they're expecting this push. Oh no, Neon to catch him off guard.
Oh no!
Luckily they played smart.
I'm terrified. Fletcher and Neon both playing rack corners, but it's only going to pan out for one of them, and that's just because Neon survived. The wall came up just barely. That could have been so much worse for area of effect here if that Judge came through, but it's not going to. Monsi stuck and stuffed full of bullets, and that's going to be 7-8 as area of effect once again going to go ahead and start to bring it back here just a little bit. It's just a 1-round deficit now, but these teams so far, it hasn't been hasn't been one of these teams fully grabbing this game and running away with it. We see that a lot. Like I said, on Split, on a map like Split, we see a lot of dominance. And the fact that both these teams, I should say, have been very solid, staying with each other, keeping up with each other. Not even in the case of kills, just the retakes, the post plans. Both teams have been so solid so far. We've seen a lot of defuses, but we've also seen a lot of rounds won in the way of just straight up kills, and that's true on both sides of this. So it's definitely, to say the absolute least, this has been one hell of a match, and at this point in my book, doesn't matter who wins it, it's a GG.
Yeah, absolutely. These two teams are kind of duking it out. Even when one team had the advantage, like you mentioned, that first half being won significantly by Silk Road, they immediately get responded on, and area of effect find their way back into it. And now we switch over. Even when these rounds are won by either side, it's still anyone's game. That last round, if Neon did not get blocked by that sage wall, if they'd be a little bit too conservative with util there, that easily could be a 4K with the Judge in B main. It could have been a tragedy,
sure.
But it's just such a close game here. Anyone is still up for the win. Speaking of which, the attack is going to be making their way up through mid. They're going to put some pressure over onto B as some push
30
through in the
seconds left.
garage, but everyone scatters away as they see the utility come through. But there's actually not a push on the B. The push is through the vents, and they do get taken out, though, immediately pushing through Neon, picking up the operator on the jet, finds the value almost immediately. Paint goes starting to chase him down. There's actually only 10 seconds left on the clock here.
Down A.
I don't think they're going to be able to get the plant off here, even if they take everybody out. I don't think a plant's going to come through. Glyph playing the Rat Joy. I think, yeah, no time for the plant, unfortunately. Paint's just not going to be able to get it down. Silk Road's going to take it just based off of the fact that there wasn't enough time to do anything. I feel like AoE, they played the clock, but they played it a little too slow, and they just weren't able to get there in time. And Silk Road going to go ahead and start to re-solidify this the point advantage just a little bit. Again, the biggest gap we've seen so far is 5-1 in favor of Silk Road, and Area of Effect actually ended up closing out that half tied up. They tied it up 6-6, and now again we're seeing both teams here. Silk Road trying so hard to get that advantage and keep it, and just stretch their wings and try to make this gap as big as they possibly can. But Area of Effect not having any of it. They're just staying nice and close. They're solidifying their retakes. They're doing, or not retakes, I should say, their post plants. Both teams are doing good, is what I'm saying. But at the end of the day, it's all about the cohesion, the communication between the 5 members on your team. And both of these teams just seem to be doing so well.
Yeah, and I gotta call out the really good timing on all the timeouts so far this series. Both teams had really good timeout calls. I'm always very particular when I see teams because there's a lot of teams that go down early, and then next thing you know it's like 6-1, 7. I've seen like
Yeah.
9-1 halves, and they're finally calling a timeout. And there's got to be an element of you're in such a bit of a rut. You need to take some time. You need to figure things out, cool off the brain a little bit. Though it actually looks like we are going to be going into a quick break as there is going to be a tech pause
Yeah.
required. So we're going to have a little bit of an extended break here. But I mean, really good timeouts across the board. They're taking the time they need to. They're cutting off the momentum for their opponents whenever really possible. So it's just really well executed, and it's for both teams. Even though,
Oh, we're back. Okay.
okay, we are going underway. Even though Silk Road didn't finish out the second half well, they were still able to convert around to bring them at least to 6 to get a neutral half with the help of a timeout in the last half. So really well played. But now as we get into this round, we're again seeing a lot of presence, a lot of utility in mid, and the attackers playing really aggressively, pushing all the way up past the smoked off mailroom, and is actually going to take a very aggressive hold here in vents. That's going to split the map practically in 2 here as they slowly start to surround B, but move the full force, all 4 of their attacking presence into mid.
What's crazy about this is the Viper wall dividing up mid from A ramp all the way down to market. I mean, it's definitely it's kind of funny, to be honest, because they have no idea that they're already past that wall. But now Dim Sum is gonna see a couple signs of life down mid. Gonna be able to take out Sean Dex down to 30 HP. Got to get out of there, homie. I'm not gonna lie, my screen is on black. Okay, I think I'm good. I think I'm okay. Yeah, we're good.
There's a lot of things happening on screen right now. I don't blame your monitor for freaking out as the attack comes through. Really well played for the defense to expect possibly a split, as that attack made a lot of noise over toward A Heaven. They read it properly, but unfortunately the pressure was just too much to overcome. They push through Heaven, excuse me. They get 1 kill. They do get traded out, but they pop that Sage ultimate as well. So Sage ult, the res is off the board for the attackers, but it brings them back up to 5 anyway, and they are able to just clinically remove everyone from sight. They got the spike down, and now it's ticking, and it looks like these 2 defenders are just gonna save their rifles, as I don't think there's really anything they could do in this situation to even attempt to even get it back level, let alone win it out.
Yeah, I was gonna say there's not much choice here. It's a 2v5. The numbers is not in your favor whatsoever. Not to mention, there's just more weapons pointed at you, and B site alone is hard to retake. Not even to mention the fact that again, the numbers. They have every angle covered. It's just not a smart move to try to take that site back. So Silk Road gonna go ahead and save those 2 rifles. It's gonna help them out quite a bit considering they are now broke. They have a Bulldog, Phantom, and a Judge, and that's it. That's all the weaponry they're gonna be able to have. Dim Sum does have the Viper's Pit. Whether or not we see that this round or they save it for the next has yet to be determined. But Neon is just one alt orb off of the Blade Storm, so they're going to go ahead and opt out for a shorty. Hopefully they can get that first kill right off the bat and get a weapon right off the board, which would be that Blade Storm, because let's face it, that thing is gnarly. If you will get a Jet that knows how to use the Blade Storm, it's a game changer. But Fletcher definitely knows how to use that Judge and is going to pick up Paint to show a perfect example. And now gonna go ahead and back off with 12 HP. Sage, homie needs a heal. Sky coming in the double heals again. That's such an advantage having the double heals up.
Yeah, it really is nice and very unfortunate. Paint is the one to go down, despite not having the most kills. As the duelist on the team, that utility is just so useful. Shondex is gonna poke and prod, see if to find it. Oh no, Neon sitting there with a shorty, but is not going to be able to get the kill with it. The Vandal is just gonna be able to outkill. Glyph does find one before getting traded out. Pyro pushes on the site. That is gonna be spiked down as well. Now the defense gonna wrap around through back alley, but it's walled off. They're gonna have to force through. No one's going to be wrapping around through heaven either. So now it's a 3-on-3. They know where to look. They know where to expect. Only Sky utility as initiator for either team to push through. That Ashwall might be huge, but they don't check the right corners as Vix just swings past the box and finds 3 to close it.
The controller waking up to get a 3-piece to solidify the tied game 9-9. This is what we were talking about. Even Soren, even if you look at the kills here, Pyro on top for area of effect, 18-11. Vix right behind him, 13-10. Silk Road, very, very similar KDs here, 19-11 for Glyph. Fletcher, 13-11. I mean, the kills, the retakes, the post plants, the entries to site, both teams have just been so on point so far. And it's actually funny. Both Skies are bottom dragon. It's fine. But both teams have just been so solid that neither one of them can really find a big window of opportunity here to really create the gap that they need. But Shondex takes a dog right to the face. Monsi taking advantage. And that's the Sentinel. That's one of the 2 Sentinels off the board for area of effect. So that post plant's going to be that much harder to post the plant. And they do still have the Sage up. But again, Sage is more of a... I don't really think of Sage as a Sentinel, to be fully honest. The wall is very nice. The slow orbs are very handy. But when it comes to fully defending, if you're going to pick between any of the Sentinels, I feel like Sage is going to be at the very bottom unless you're really going to bank on the heals and the resurrection. But again, that's why you have Sky. I'm getting off track. Anyways, Paint is going to go ahead and equip his Elytra and just soar right onto site. And it's going to create a good amount of space, and that's going to allow Spike to be planted as Monsi and company now on the retake. Glyph with a lockdown of a lifetime. Unfortunately, that lifetime is not very successful, and I think the retake has basically been... I think the retake is going to be pretty problematic here.
Yeah, CJ has a really nice flank along with Vix here. They might just catch him off guard. They're not expecting to look here. Dim Sum, the only one really checking it, won't spot anything. Ooh, they'll catch CJ leaving, but it doesn't matter because over on site, they are clinically removing them one by one, but it doesn't matter at all because they try to swing through, get the flank, but Dim Sum wasn't able to find them over on ramp, but swings through, never forgetting the flanker, gets the kill. And we're going back and forth here. At least last half, it was a tale of 2 halves in the half itself. It was 5-for-1 for both of them, splitting the half in 2. But here, neither team can really gather a lead. They're just swinging back and forth. I think we might be seeing an overtime here, especially as both teams still have really good economies.
I was thinking the same thing. I didn't want to cast or curse it, but here at Team Mystic, everything's a curse, so you might as well throw it out there. But I think overtime is very, very plausible, just based on, we've been saying it. I'm a broken record at this point. Both teams are so solid. Dim Sum catching that duelist out that early on is going to be one hell of a deficit for the attackers. That's that fragger off the board. Paint's been, Paint has been up there as raised. Not necessarily getting the most kills in the game, but definitely doing what a duelist needs to do, doing damage, creating space, and just forcing the defenders off of sight. But now that duelist is off the board. The fellow duelist, Neon, also off the board after getting 2 to the face from Pyro. And now 4 to 3 now. Oh my goodness, Glyph picks up 2, but Shondex gonna get a quick trade. 3 versus 2, 3 versus 1. Poor Shondex. Once again, stuck in this 1vx scenario. Fletcher catches the head from distance, and that's all she wrote. 11 to 9. Silk Road starting to run away just a little bit. More of a brisk jog, but they're getting there.
Yeah, I wanna point something out here, and we can see in the replay, I believe, in just a few seconds here. Glyph coming online, fighting 2 before finally getting taken out. I know I talked about this map being very sentinel heavy, expecting maybe the double sentinel come through, and we did. But I don't think anyone could have expected that at the top of the leaderboard for both teams is the 2 sentinels. Pyro, 20 and 13 and 5. Meanwhile, Glyph coming on the line 21, 13, and 5 as well. Both of them are really popping off, taking advantage, lurking when need to, even playing some ratty angles as well. I mean, that is coming in clutch for the team, especially when the duelists are not firing on full cylinders. Someone has to take up the mantle, and arguably the Sentinel is the hardest role to do that.
Oh, Judge versus Stinger. Oh, Judge wins, but Stinger prevails again with a 2-piece Pyro. And the resurrection to Paint. That is huge. The damage dealt early on with the 5th getting brought back into the game. I think this is going to be an area of effect round here. With the headshot from Fletcher, starting to change my mind. Sage out of the way. Paint again, soaring through the air.
Player standing.
Okay. I'm not really sure what just happened, but Dim Sum's in a 1v3.
Yeah, I mean, luckily there for the attackers, the Raze is able to satchel up into an advantageous position, and they do finally get rid of Fletcher, who is just kind of a monster on site there, found 2, brought it to actually kind of a winnable situation. Dim Sum Boy just has to play this very carefully, take the right angles, take the right fights, and they might be able to be in a position to take all these one-on-one. They find the first one, Vix falls, they're gonna snake bite off that one angle, and they will just have to check all their corners. It's going to be a matter of patience here, both playing into the back site. Dim Sum Boy's going to recognize that. Can he catch him off guard? No, they won't. Time's ticking. It's going to be too late, and Dim Sum's just going to try to chase him down, see if they can find them, and they won't. Does the best, tries to take the one-on-ones, but cannot come out on top, and that is going to be double digits now for both teams as we continue this duel, this fight, back-to-back, round for round.
That's just heartbreaking. That right there was just heartbreaking. Dim Sum totally had an opportunity to get the win there, but unfortunately, time was not on his side, and Paint and CJ just played it perfectly. They didn't engage. They just hid, because they know if they go down, that's time that Dim Sum is going to have to be able to get the defuse off. But they just played time. They made noise, made him rethink every strategy they've ever executed, and it helped. It helped secure that round 11 to 10. Silk Road still with the advantage, but Paint looking for not going to find anything, but a good amount of damage on Glyph. But the heals, again, the Devil Heals coming out once more. That is, it's an advantage. It's definitely an advantage having 1 extra heal, 1 initiator, 1 sentinel, but Dim Sum doing what he can to slow down the push up in heaven. But it looks like all 5, yeah, oh my goodness, it's nothing but red in vents. They're flowing like an awful weirdly shaped river all the way from A ramp down to B. But Dim Sum and Neon shutting down the rotate. Vix now left in a 1 versus 5. I think we're gonna see a match point here for Silk Road.
Yeah, and you can see the pings there on the map and on the screen as they know exactly where to look. Really well played from this defense. They do not over rotate. They see all that pressure, but they know that there's always a little bit of trickery there. They do not over rotate. They put themselves into a really good position to close it out, and they just get
30 seconds left.
mowed down by Dim Sum Boy in heaven over on B. Really well played. Now the attackers are on the back foot. Fix, the last one standing, is just going to save a rifle going into this round. And you can see there on the camera just hiding in that corner, doing the best they can, waiting out these last 10 seconds.
10
And
seconds
this
left.
is going to be match point. And unfortunately, the economy, I don't think, is in a great spot. I think they might be able to scrape together one last full buy. So they have to make it count, or we're going to be going over the map too over on Haven. But we're just going to have to wait and see. The attackers need to change something up here because the defense,
Yeah.
they've only lost one in the last four.
Yeah, and as you saw in that replay just then, that was a beautiful full speed rotate from A to B via area of effect, but they ran right into Neon's Blade Storm, and then once he removed himself from the equation, Dim Sum went off the distraction, picked up three, and then it was just an unfortunate situation for that Astra to be in. And like you said, we're at match point. Area of effect, not only do they have to win two to tie it up, but they have to win four essentially to take the map, because the overtime they got to win two in a row. But again, I think this is still anyone's game. We're at match point, and it's clearly in the favor of, at least score lines in the favor of Silk Road. But again, the fact what we've seen so far proves to me that this is not over yet. I do in fact think that Area of Effect could still pull this into overtime.
Yeah, like everyone always says, it's round for round, and they tried to push up
Spike down
through
mid.
vents, but Monzi is waiting there patiently. That will be one fall in as another foot gets dug in the grave here for map one. The Seekers are going to be invested by the attack side, leaving nothing left to chance, though they're not going to find anything as they're going to get sprayed down. The attackers now closing in onto A site. Paint finds an equalizer. Neon gets spotted in the back, but Dim Sum Boy finds two, make it three as they mow down one by one, and Dim Sum Boy finds a third with the classic, the close out map one.
Map one.
Ooh.
That's what's crazy. It is map, but that was map one. That was map one, 13 to 10. That was just phenomenal. I mean, the fact that that was the first map of this series, and we saw that much, not even dominance from both teams, because there were dominant moments. All in all, there was no one team that just kind of took it and ran away with it. They were neck and neck the whole time, just showing each other all their cards, and nobody was folding. There was not a single moment where either of these teams were like, they can have the round. Not a single moment. Every single time, it was just neck and neck, and that's insane to me, because that right there was judging by my notes, that was Silk Road's pick.
Yes.
And now we know why. But and we also know why Area Effect didn't bother banning Split, because they know that no matter the odds, they can at least keep up against that enemy team, and that's exactly what they did. It ended up not being their map, but that's okay, because we still have one more. It's Haven, and that is Area of Effects. That's their pick. So hopefully they're going to start on defense, I believe, and hopefully they're able to keep it a little bit tighter this time, or at least in their advantage. But I believe we're going to go ahead and head to a quick break before heading into Haven. So don't go anywhere. If you have to go somewhere, some popcorn, grab a Pop Tart, grab your orange sodies or whatever, and we'll see you guys in just a moment. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mystic Singularity series number 4. I love that. That was so dramatic and
So
perfect.
great.
I felt like a mafia don, man. Again, I am Sir Mickey, joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Soren Sorlin the Wizard. We're here. We're about to head into map number 2. Split was a shutout. No, I'm kidding. It was actually really close, 13 to 10. Yeah. It was a Silk Road pick. They ended up snagging it just barely, a 3-round difference. And we see why it was their pick. They were very strong, but we also see why Area of Effect didn't ban it because they were very strong on it too. But now it's an AoE pick, and it's going to be Haven, and we know back we used to say it will not be a best of 3 if there's no Haven, and we all know Haven sucks, but we also love it because it's a staple in the community. You can't play Valorant without knowing how to Haven. Again, the decider, map number 3, will be Pearl, but whether or not we get to see that is entirely dependent on how this map goes. If AoE take this map, we will go to Pearl. If not, it'll be a 2-0 in the series for Silk Road. But again, Caster Curses aside, we're here in Agent Select. Didn't even get to talk about it. We're already in it because they are just so sure of who we're gonna see. And it looks like, is this a, yes, it is a mirror it's a mirror what's that word?
Composition. I got you.
Composition. Thank you.
No, but across
Everything's
the board,
fine.
we have everything similar across the board. Again, just because we're seeing it here on screen, big shout outs to our producer and observer behind the scenes doing God's work. Jinx and I go by Ben, doing an amazing job so far for the night. But as we're getting into this map, we're seeing the Omen pickups, we're seeing the Sovas, we're seeing the Breach, we're seeing the Killjoy, we're seeing the Jet. It's a pretty standard composition for Haven. Much unlike Split, Haven has been around for so long that it's I wouldn't say it's a solved map because there's still new strategies getting picked up every once in a while, but
Yeah.
the agent pool is pretty narrow. You're going to see the exact same. Sometimes we see a KO get picked up, sometimes we see a Sky, but that's really the only alterations. But looking into this first round, Dim Sum Boy now on the KJ is the only one on site as the attackers just swing through.
Oh no. Dim Sum not in a good spot. Paint takes him out with a frenzy. Monty, the same treatment from Pyro, who picks up a second. Finally, Paint goes down. It's nothing but a war zone on C site. Neon just spraying through the smoke with a frenzy. Is gonna pick up Vix. That's controller off the board. Glyph and Neon. Now it's just Glyph in a 1 versus 3. Shondex gonna go ahead and pick up 2, and that's the first round, completely and totally in the way of Area of Effect, who is now on the attacking side here on Haven. It is a Silk Road map pick, excuse me, an Area of Effect map pick. So they're going to start on attack. Wait, what? Really?
Yeah,
Huh.
they are on
Okay,
attack.
so that means Silk Road picked defense.
Yes. It's a little bit
Okay.
interesting. I personally believe that defense can be really strong here, but this is rather an attack-siding map. Seeing
Yeah.
as trying to defend 3 sites is usually never very good, which is why we're actually seeing the setup in the defense at 3 hold on B with 2 over on A. The attackers unfortunately do pick the wrong site as they're about to push right into B. There's 3 defenders here. They can easily swing this back into their favor. Smalty finds 1.
Oh, but 1 is all he's going to find. His Paint picks up 2, and the trade. Fletcher, Omen on Omen violence here, picks up 1 at the second Pyro. His Paint picks up 3 with a shorty, but Neon somehow, I don't know how the hell that bullet connected to Paint, but it did now. 1v1 Neon versus Shondex. Neon gonna get his skull caved in by the Spectre. Full HP. Shondex was not even touched that round, and that goes to show how strong this map really is when it comes to the attacking side. Shondex was not even touched. Again, coming out with the Sentinel, who is on the board early on with the kills, and Paint right up there with him. Duelist 4-2 and 0. And so far, it's a pretty strong showing from Area of Effect. But again, this map, you expect the attackers to have the advantage in the early map. It fully depends when the side switch. That's when the marbles should really be counted, because that's when you really get to see the flexibility and the adaptability of both teams. But Neon picks up CJ, the fellow Jet, gonna go ahead and make sure it's not in vain. 120 on the clock. Bomb looking perhaps for a slow push towards C, but now they know they lost their breach. They lost that initiator, so they're looking for perhaps another route. A slow rotate may come out here. And this map is looking different already because we don't have any heals whatsoever. Last time, we had 3 heals across the board. This time, not a single one. Barely any flashes. Both flashes are breaches. We have the double initiator set up on both sides. It's a full mirror composition, so this is going to be interesting to say the absolute least. And a lot of information is being provided down a long, so the attackers know stay the hell away from that angle. But 45 on the clock here as Vixen Company are looking for any kind of opening on C side.
Very interestingly, they get spotted by the Sova drone over on A, but they're going to rotate over both teams over to C. Vix does find one as an opener, making this a 4v2. Making it a 3v2 as Fletcher does the most, brings it to one left standing, but Shondex with the lurk through garage is able to close it. The attackers, they win the bonus despite having the disadvantage in rifles.
Yeah, that was a rough one. It was a rough one for Silk Road, now down by 3. It's starting to look a little reminiscent of that split match last time, but actually by this point, I believe Silk Road actually had one on the board. No, Silk Road was the opposite. It was the opposite. Silk Road had the 5-1 lead early on. Area of Effect was just barely fighting back, and this time around it's the exact opposite, but it's still reminiscent for a couple rounds in a row now. But Fletcher getting aggressive. Paint doesn't know he's there, but it doesn't matter because he has the reaction time of Zeus himself. Puts Fletcher down with the Blade Storm. CJ does the same to Glyph down long. Dim Sum ready and waiting, holding this angle. Pyro and Paint are ready to lay down the damage. A long is clear. There's hardly any resistance on a site. They need to push this and they need to go now, but Neon with a beautiful angle, not gonna find anybody. Damage dealt to the alleyways. Neon mid-air takes out Paint, and now it's a 3-man retake.
Yeah, very nice kill. Neon finding the most with that Jetstorm already, or Blade Storm, excuse me, finding one to bring this into a winnable position. Still has 4 knives available. Shondex playing far back, playing for this post-plant situation. Exactly what you want to see coming from the Killjoy. CJ is on site as well. He's going to make this difficult, but Neon just pushes through, finds one more with the knives before getting taken out. Dim Sum Boy does bring it back to a 2v2, but CJ swings through and finds both.
There we go.
Of the last 2 standing. Triple kill in the round for them. It was a little bit dicey thanks to that Blade Storm, but that is a convincing round win with 3 left on the board afterwards. And that was an anti-eco, so now we are seeing the full buy come back out for the defense. Kind of. It's a little bit weaker, as it looks like they're going to be funneling money into Neon, who now has the op in hand. And I don't want to cast those curves, but an op crutch can always do well on Haven. They can always bring it back to their favor.
Oh yeah, with all those long angles, Exhibit A, C long, A long, even mid, this map could be completely and totally dominated by the right person with that operator. And Jet is usually that correct character to get the job done, with Chambers a good position as well, but Chambers kind of fallen out of meta, especially on maps like Haven. Breeze was usually the pick, and now that Breeze is out of the map pool, I mean, Chambers kind of fallen down to the really C tier in terms of compositions for a lot of maps, unfortunately. But nonetheless, that is a completely different conversation. Neon holding the angle beautifully. That Nano Swarm, not going to find anybody. The reaction time of an avocado, not going to be able to capture that kill down long. And unfortunately, just 50 seconds on the clock for the attackers to find any kind of advantage here.
With a stray shot at the avocados, man. Avocados are great. But the attackers making a lot of noise over towards C. Meanwhile, not the Neon, Paint on the Jet is pushed all the way up into garage, into that window area. So in a really good position, you get a really nice flank. Meanwhile, the rest of their team, it's still a 5v5, 25 seconds left on the clock. As the attackers make their way through, Glyph is going to try to do the most they can to prevent this plant, but actually he's only going to do minimal damage to Vix and will keep nothing from going down the spike in a dangerous position. Plant it for long and short. Really nice for them, and it's a 5v5 retake with this Jet. If you look at the mini-map, lurking up behind could cause some serious damage as the swing through comes, and 1-for-1. Vix, they all fall. Pyro, the last one on site. And now Shondex, it is planted for them, but needs to find all the kills. Finds 2 to bring it to a 1v1. And I'm just gonna try to
There we go.
sneak it, but Shondex needs to do it all and does it for their team. Man, Clutch Masters, I believe they also won a 1v3 in the last game as well.
Yeah.
Coming up huge.
Yeah, Shondex has definitely shown up and shown off in terms of the skill set here. 8-1 at the moment. I mean, even on split, they were still showing up as Cypher. I mean, that Cypher getting kills is a little bit more difficult than say with Omen or Sova or any other duelist. The fact that Shondex was doing what they were doing and is now continuing that on a totally different character, same role but different character, different map. So it's very it definitely shows the skill set that Shondex has to offer this team. But the Rolling Thunder coming out from CJ, going to provide the perfect entry for a site, but they have to make it work. They got to capitalize on all that damage as there's now a full defender flood. The retake is in effect. Flip and company doing nothing but causing damage. Now it's Dim Sum Boy in a 1 versus 2. Not a good spot to be in whatsoever. Shondex ready and waiting, but oh my dear Lord, Dim Sum rips the head off the shoulders. CJ though, full HP, has the fault line ready, has a Vandal, has the advantage, period, and it does come into effect. CJ, beautiful headshot, picking up 3 as well. CJ not to be shot at either. We were talking about, we were shining all the light on Shondex. CJ's been doing that too. That's CJ's 6-3, 6 kills. That's all. But the fact that that was 2 separate rounds of 2 3Ks to combine to get those 6 kills definitely shows that CJ knows what they're doing, but at the same time is not that consistent. I'm sorry, CJ, I love you. I'm just speaking the truth. But nonetheless, 6 rounds in a row here for Area of Effect. Not a good spot to be in if you're a Silk Road fan.
No, not whatsoever. Though they have been quite close at times, losing the 1v3. A little bit tragic, and that can also be seen as tragic as Neon tries to push through with the operator and just cannot find it. Shondex invests the Killjoy lockdown, but it will get taken out by that aftershock coming out from the breach. The attackers now advantageous position. It's 4-3 on the board. The ultimate gets invested. The Into the Shadows into Heaven on A is going to clear a lot of space out as Vix, or excuse me, the Killjoy has also already made their way through. Heaven smoked. Spike should go down. There we go. It's going to be a 3-4, but the Rolling Thunder gets invested as Dim Sum Boy finds one to trade. Shondex on another 3K.
Oh, Fletcher
Spike down.
shreds Shondex and Pyro with the same spray. Both wallbang headshots now. 1 versus 2, 35 on the clock. Dim Sum Boy is ready and waiting, but Paint's got the angle of a lifetime. Picks up 2. They were none the wiser to him just hanging out up in heaven. Airbnb, why not? 7 in a row for Area of Effect. I mean, this is just a shutout at this point. We know that this is Area of Effect's pick. This is their pick. And Silk Road willingly took the defensive pick. They wanted to be defenders on this early half. And I mean, if you're doing that, you have to, that essentially, if you pick to start at a disadvantage, that means that you have it under control. That means that you need to have some sort of understanding of how dominant you need to be on the defense. And I got to give it to them. They're definitely putting in the effort, but very little results coming from the defenders. As I'm saying that, it's nothing but a war zone mid, and it looks like finally Silk Road might get around here.
Yeah, really well played coming out from the defensive Jet. Dashes through garage doors, finds the Killjoy with the frenzy, gets hands on a Vandal, and swings that fight back into their favor with the assistance of a Stinger coming from B. Really well played coming out from these defenders, though. We've seen this time and time again. Now Pyro is the one last standing. We've seen 1v2s come out. We've seen even a 1v3 already. So I'm not going to count Pyro out quite yet. Does still have a Vandal in hand and has got the correct read and will hear that sound cue as well. And if they don't check the corners, Pyro finds 2. And again, it's brought to a 1-on-1. It's gonna be it, and he finds the 3rd. Again, another 1v3 that goes awry.
Pyro at every disadvantage somehow pulls the round out of the darkest crevice he could find and denies that first round on the board for Silk Road. I mean, Silk Road had every advantage. That was their round. It was their round, and it just spilled. It fell apart so quickly simply because they stacked. They stacked their angles a little too much. Monsignor and Fletcher were right on top of each other, and if that wasn't the case, I don't think that first spray would have been
No.
so devastating. But Pyro, he capitalized on it. That's the thing. Took down two, immediately capitalized by taking out that third person, and it all comes down to this 8-0. I mean, we were talking about going to a third map, which is going to be Pearl, and I genuinely, with this dominant of a start, it's very, very possible. But you do have to consider the fact that, again, Haven, very attacking sided, very, very attacking sided. So Silk Road could flip the script. We could see a 10-2 half. I mean, at the moment, it's looking like a 12-0 half.
I mean,
But I hope not. I hope not.
It wouldn't even be the first 12-0 map we've seen today on this channel. We saw
Yeah.
this series earlier today.
Oh,
So
man.
it's on the
It's
card.
been a long day, man. It's been a long, rough day for some of these guys.
Yeah, it really has been. And as we get into this round now, it is going to be a rather aggressive push onto A. The defenders, they're
30
smoked
seconds
off
left.
both Omen smoke,
New agent.
as well as the lockdown and the Hunter's Fury.
Yeah, that's the new agent. Moment. Everything's fine. Fletcher, beautiful, beautiful peek. Takes out the second as well. Spray control adjustment, beautiful on there. And Neon to close the round. Finally, Soren. Silk Road has done the almost impossible. They've found their first round, but can they keep that momentum going? That's the question, my man. Can they continue to have some kind of idea of what's going on this defensive is part of the map? Because I mean, this is just, it's looking like a shutout. It really is. I mean, this is best case scenario for this half. Silk Road 8-4, or 4-8, I should say. That's the best case scenario, and so that still puts a lot of work on the board for next half, and they still have to put in a lot of effort, but they have to find something. They have to find these next 3 rounds, or it's just gonna be utter hell to try to come back from this.
And this is a really good response coming out from the attacking side, not so much from Silk Road, as they are stuck into a hard spot. Glyph does find one to bring it back a little bit into their favor. Neon over on A with the operator finds Shondex trying to play in post plant, though it is still a 3v2 with just an op, which is, you know, not the best tool for a retake.
Yeah.
Glyph is going to be heard by Pyro, though. They're playing Ring Around the Rosie right now. I think it's just a matter of who gets spotted out first.
Yeah.
So I don't know if they're going to read Pyro. They won't. And now Neon not pushing through. They know that this operator is far too valuable to lose. So they're just going to hold this angle and just pray they don't go hunting. And they will be able to save, at least. The silver lining at the end of the day.
The silver lining, very, very thin line. Very, very thin line. You were saying they were ringing around the Rosie at B site. It was all about timing there. It was a ring around the Rosie. The pockets, the question though, were the pockets full of posies? Unfortunately for Silk Road, them pockets were empty, bro. They were just bare. There was nothing to be had, unfortunately. But Neon, like you said, silver lining was able to save the operator, so that does help just a smidge. But why are you peeking short with it? Peek long, dude. You're at a disadvantage going down that hill. You better make it work. Better make it work, Neon. It's all on you, and he does. He makes every ounce of it work. 1-on-1. Neon is your guy. Takes down that Sova that initiated the information out early on in the round. That is pivotal. And now Peyton Company have to find a way onto site without that crucial information. And now the Rolling Thunder is going to be that way onto site. The fault line to slow him down. Glyph teaming up with his breach, doing some absolute dominant work here. Neon again with the operator doing work on the CJ 2 versus 5. The bomb is floating down a long. They can't even find an angle to grab it. The Vixen Company, not a good spot at all.
No, I don't like that Rolling Thunder either. It did not clear the rest of the site. It just cleared out short, and the rest of the defense wasn't even there. They all pulled back and were holding angles in a really good spot to just pick them off as they tried to take advantage of that ultimate as well. And like you said, the spike is down. Vix, the only one really close enough to do anything with it. Surprisingly, not going to try to pick it
30
up
seconds
after
left.
smoking off this angle. Maybe trying to catch him off guard. We won't be able to rotate either. 24 seconds left on the clock, and I think this might just be a save. But at this
Yeah.
point, it might. They just might go hunting. They know that the spike's still there. At least I think they do. Well, that will
It's-
10
confirm it.
seconds left.
Yeah, no, it's a save from it's definitely a save from Area of Effect. I mean, they're not in any position to do anything about this. But the good news for Silk Road is they're gonna find their second round, and now best case scenario is suddenly 9-3. Area of Effect
Last
got the
round
one
in the
round,
half.
and now it's been. Oh, I thought it was. Never mind. It was not 2 in a row. I was about to tell an extremely no bueno lie, but again, 10-2 is a possibility. That's the thing, and if that happens, it's only 3 more rounds for AOE to take this game. So Silk Road praying to the Valorant gods that they can find that third round and at least put a pause to double digits for now. Because on the half switch, they're going to have the advantage. But again, you have to get through those pistol rounds once you do switch to the attack. So pistol rounds, let's face it, are a toss-up. So it really comes down to this round right here. Is it going to be 10-2? Is it going to be 9-3? Because that is going to tell the difference. But Fletcher is in the middle of a war zone, essentially in a 1v5 on C site. A lot of abilities flying left and right. Monsty finds 2 to slow down that entry, but Vix is mid doing work as well.
Yeah, the push is halted finally, and 2 of the attackers do fall on C, and that's going to cause a rotation as no one else gets spotted coming through.
Look at the
Omen
map.
is through B, but the rotations
Oh
come
my-
through. Glyph trades 1-for-1 with CJ. Fletcher
Standing.
does find one, but Vix gets the trade. And now we're in a 1v2, and we keep saying it over and over again. You never count this team out. CJ can do some damage, but they need to clear the right angles. They're checking left. Finally, we'll see right, but Fletcher is not going to do it. They're not going to allow yet another clutch moment from the
Switching
team.
sides.
And I don't know about you. I believe in curses, Mickey. It's 9-3.
I mean, I grew up watching Pirates of the Caribbean. I believe in curses, my man. I mean, this is just utterly. It's kind of depressing, but it's also there is a little bit of light at the end of that dark hallway. Silk Road. This is not over yet. This is not over. Area of Effect still has to win 3 rounds to even get to match point. So Silk Road has a little bit of wiggle room. They have just the tiniest window of opportunity, and Area of Effect has to slam that window on their knuckles, cut off every finger, because Silk Road is one of those teams that will not stop. They will continue to put in every ounce of effort that they could possibly spare into this game because they want it. $3,000 is on the line. It's going to be determined fully tomorrow, but this is not one of those games that doesn't matter. Obviously, this is one of those games where we get to showcase what these guys can do, but also in terms of bracket, yeah, it does stuff, sure, whatever. But Area of Effect showing their true dominance here that they didn't get to show on Split.
Oh, they're preferring this B hit. CJ was sitting in the back, but smart enough to get the Sova dart back there. Will clear out that breach. Weirdly, B is usually not an ideal
planted.
site to hit early on, especially with pistols, but they will get the spike down, and they're in a 5v4, so this is now in favor of them. Vix is in a position where they might be able to wrap around, but they're expecting that. They already got 2 people holding garage. There is still one lurking on the site, on the spike itself, but Paint will find him. Neon's not going to get any value from sitting there. They're going to try to pay for post plants. Vix doing the most they can, but the defense just removes them from the lobby.
Oh
them
my
right
God.
in the third, and almost does, but Paint finds their 3K only with scraps of health left standing that easily could have swung either way, but the defenders needed 3 to bring it to match point. That's one step of the way to getting map 3, though. 10-3, double digits officially hit here.
Yeah, that was a rough one. that was
Yes.
just a firefight down mid. I mean, it's a miracle that even one team survived that. I mean, that was just nothing but bullets flying
Not
left, right,
panda.
and center. I mean, that's not a panda. It's not a pandasauran.
It looks
It's
like a
not a
pink panda.
Go to the zoo. Go
I
to the
have
zoo
many a
and
zoo.
study. Then you've been to an awful zoo because they don't have the correct type of bear.
That's New
Anyways,
Jersey education for you.
I'm being gaslit. The public education system has failed us all, but nonetheless, public education system has not failed these attackers because they got to skip school with no repercussions and sit on this game all day, every day, and just learn it. And now we're seeing the real side of area of effect, the dominance that they showed out on the attacking side. They're continuing that on the defense. They only got the one round so far. Still plenty of the second half to be had. That is, very effect doesn't close it out. So there's definitely a lot of time for Silk Road to come back into this and show their dominance, because they did show some both teams were very, very dominant on split. It wasn't really, it was neck and neck the whole damn time. But now we're starting to see a little bit of a much different game. It's a lot more separated here, but area of effect continuing. No, excuse me. Wrong. Silk Road now finally starting to sink their toes into the side of the mountain. They're gonna start that climb up this treacherous landscape that is area of effect.
I mean, yeah, they forced through, and they're actually very much benefited for that, seeing as there was a hero rifle buy coming out from the side of area of effect, and it got nothing out of that hero buy. So that is now just a free phantom now into the hands of Glyph. They do also invest into a rifle of their own, as Neon, top frag for the team and the lobby, 16, 10, and 2, also as a Vandal. This attacking side is in a really good position. If they could win this comfortably, they should be able to buy out, and that will bring it. Normally, we see the split, the 1-for-1 ends up going 2-for-2. The team that won the first round, lost second, ends up winning the fourth. But if they can win out this next round comfortably, save these two rifles, maybe pad the economy of Dim Sum and Fletcher and Monzi, they might be able to full buy out themselves, and that 2-2 split, that might easily become a 3-1, and if that becomes the case, we might see that climb, like you said, start a little bit earlier than we expected. They are sitting here. They are favoring.
Oh, Pyro!
Push and Fletcher.
Not what you wanted there. Not what you wanted at all there. Yeah, that was very unfortunate. And Pyro's been a very pivotal initiator as well for area of effect, and so that's going to be a rough one having him out that early. But what's Paint doing here? Are they gonna try? I think. What is happening?
I thought they were just gonna try to die to Spike, which would be best for them, is because they don't want to keep the pad out the economy of the enemy team. But if they're not expecting to win this,
I can't tell if they're rotating or if they just want knife kills. Like, it looks sus, just the way they're all walking around.
So I don't.
They're all just lurking around. It looks so suspicious, but Dim Sum was ready. Vix is ready as well. Gonna go ahead and take down Dim Sum. Glyph looking to get into some trouble. That's exactly what happens. CJ takes him out, but CJ and Paint and Vix all die to bomb, so that's money for them on the defenders' side, and that's what they need, because Silk Road, now 2 in a row, their economy's looking pretty damn nice. So, but again, Silk Road, they're closing that gap. They are closing. They're closing the gap. It was literally this half started the first half ended. Oh my goodness, ended 9-3. So that was one hell of a mountain they had to climb, and now we're starting to see it close just a little bit here. And a 5-round comeback is not at all impossible. It is very, very doable. As long as Silk Road continues what they've been doing the last 2 rounds, I think we might be able to see at least some sort of comeback here.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially as this is a partial full buyout. Monzi, the only one with a Spectre, though. They're 4-12 at the moment. Mostly been playing for assists, playing off that utility. So, despite not having a rifle in hand, they could still be a deadly presence here. And it is a full buy, but it's still some light shields on the side of the defense as well. Make it even one less as Paint gets punished for peeking out. Glyph finds that kill. And yet again, we might see just a mad dash push into B. Spike should be going down here in a second, and it will do. Defense is going to try to do the best they can to pull this off. A lot of information gets shared.
my God.
PJ's still on site, causing damage, and the defense picks him apart one by one. Spike did not get planted, but is now down on site. 3 defenders waiting patiently. It's a 3v2.
3v2, the numbers game is in favor of AoE here.
30 seconds left.
But I mean, let's face it, we've seen some pretty gnarly stuff from Fletcher and Glyph today. Glyph specifically has been so solid on the initiation, but Fletcher's the one to teleport on the site, get the first one, but Vix is there with the trade and the refrag, and that's going to seal the deal. 11-5, 1 more round to match point, 2 more for the victory. AoE is very close to shutting this thing out and bringing us to a 3rd map.
I mean, that was really nice. I actually really liked what Fletcher did there. That even caught me off guard, seeing as we didn't have the glowing figures. So I actually had no idea the Fletcher TP'd up there. I mean, if it caught me off guard, I can't imagine the poor players. Really good position.
I didn't know he was there until I called it.
Yeah, but it was able to bring it to a 2v2, but unfortunately Vix, coming alive, finds the kill. Paint is going to try to play this aggressively down short, but is going to run right into all 5. Dimsum's going to get noticed. The trading Hunter's Furies.
Oh my.
Oh! Sets his up first, so he gets just a little bit more damage. Paint's in an advantageous position to catch him off guard. Will stop Monty. Gets spiked down as well, and Paint's still in the smoke. Finds a second when Fletcher falls. No more smoke on site. Neon
Oh
does
my
finally
God.
get the trade, though, but now there's 2 defenders left standing. Or sorry, 2 attackers. And now it's a 4v2. Dimsum and Neon need to do it. They need to find the clutch of their own. The Aftershock's going to be used to clear out Hell, which will be rather nice for them. Will at least give them some security. Flash
Scared.
comes through. Neon finds one, but gets
Oh.
flashed as well.
Oh, I'm
Neon
scared. There we go. That was all she wrote. It's match point, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It's match point. 12-5. Silk Road. We were just talking about how if they could continue at least 1 or 2 more rounds, they would have a better chance of coming back here. And unfortunately, it just stopped at 5. Hopefully, I mean, this is the last chance. This is the last chance Silk Road has. They have no more room. Pyro, never do that again. That was horrendous. But this is the last chance they have. If they can't pull this off, we're heading to Pearl. And I will say, I would love to see Pearl. I would love to see Pearl, especially considering the skill set that these 2 teams bring to the table. But at the moment, oh, how the turntables, my dude. I mean, this is a complete different map than what we saw on Split. So I could imagine that Pearl is going to be just as nuts.
Paint finds one with the Blade Storm, puts 1 foot in the grave here for Silk Road, as now it's a 5v4 at map point. The Into the Shadows is going to get invested. We'll get some looks down into A lobby. Won't see anyone, which will give away a lot of information. That's why we're seeing the rotations come out over towards B and C. And also, these defenders, they've learned. They know that maybe it's not an A hit, so they're probably going to favor this B, which they had been this entire half. So they're going to pull off of it. They're going to try to keep them from taking sight.
Right there.
But now they've left C vulnerable, the attackers. This is going to be theirs for the taking. They should get spiked down here quite easily. Blade Storm is also in the hands of Neon, could easily pull this back even.
Spike
There we go.
planted.
Spike finally goes down. We see that the defenders start to scramble as some start going through garage or making their way towards garage, and some putting some pressure into this A link position. Utility getting used. There we go. The first trade's coming through. Glyph finds 1. But the trade's coming out 3v2 now. The defender's still in the advantage.
This right here, Silk Road, they have to be flawless, but unfortunately, Shondex is doing just that. Does pick it up, and that's 2 on the board for just that round. I mean, Shondex came out, did exactly what they needed to do, and Area of Effect takes map number 2, which was their pick on Haven, 13-5. That was just a very, very unfortunate series of events for Silk Road. I mean, they right out of the gate, I think, what was it, 8-0, I think at one point, 7 or 8-0. That is just not a good start. And the fact that they at the end of the day, they didn't even have AOE's points. That's their score. That's just so very unfortunate. But it's not over yet. It's one of the series. It's not over yet. There's still a chance that either one of these teams could continue on, and we'll see them tomorrow. But at the moment, it's Pearl up next, so we are going to go ahead and switch it to a quick break. I think, right, production? Are we going to do that? Yes, we are. Yes, production says, "Shut up, Mickey. Send it to break already." But anyways, we'll see you guys in just a moment. Go ahead and grab yourself a Pop-Tart, give your grandma a high five, and we'll see you in just a few moments. The Cleveland Browns versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Red versus blue. Watermelon versus pumpkins. And now Silk Road versus Area of Effect. These are the competitions that make my blood boil, and we're ready to see the epic conclusion of this storyline. And I think I hit that pretty well. Again, I'm Sir Mickey with my man Soren. We're back. Mystic Singularity series numero quattro here. That means number 4 for you non-intellectual folks. But we are now heading in to map number 3. It's going to be Pearl. We were 1-1 in the series. The first one was split in the way of Silk Road. Area of Effect, After Effects, Adobe. Area of Effect came back and snagged map number 2. That was Haven. And now the decider, the tiebreaker, the map to end all maps of the night. Last one for us tonight. It's Pearl. What's the composition looking like, Soren?
I'm sorry, I'm still caught up on the watermelon and pumpkin. I've never heard that before, but I gotta get my head in the game. We got agent select already on screen. We got the collars popped, agents already getting picked. We're already seeing the Viper get picked up, and notably, no Viper.
My collar doesn't pop.
It's fine. It's popped in theory.
Pop.
It's the spirit of it.
It's a metaphorical popping.
Yeah, absolutely. But no Viper on the side of the defense, but we are seeing the Astra yet again. So, again, incredibly useful, especially with the global utility. Always a hand. And now on the attacking side, we are seeing the Viper get picked up instead. And I'm a little bit interested if we're going to see possibly a double Sentinel. Or there we go, the double controller. Very interesting. Normally, we see Viper and Harbor get picked up as the secondary controls. Usually we see them with like an Omen or a Brimstone and one of those two, but they're actually preferring just to go with a pair of them each. So I think that's going to be a little bit of a different shakeup that maybe we're not going to be expecting here. But besides that, we're seeing the pretty stereotypical picks. We're seeing the Sky, of course, the KJ on both teams, the queen of Valorant right now, I think has the second highest win rate in the entire game across all ranks. So really not all that surprised. And we're seeing the KO Sova pairing on the defense. So one team looking to go maybe a little bit more defensive and the other team looking to go a little bit more attacking, notably starting on their worst half, the attacking team comp on the defense starting off here, and the defending team composition on the attacking side. So I think we have an interesting game, at least off the bat.
Yeah, I mean, just off of the agent composition here, it's going to be interesting. Is Shondex again going up with the Sentinel, gonna opt in for the Sentinality here, which we have seen Shondex just absolutely blow the competition away with Cypher in the first map on Split, and then continued the skill set that we needed him to continue into Haven and now Pearl. And I do have to say, Monsi, I got my eye on you as someone who has spent countless hours on this map, on Pearl, learning lineups with my buddy who learns lineups on Silva because we're nerds. I'm not kidding, hours on end. I got my eye on you, Monsi. Eye on you. Do it. I need you to do something here. But nonetheless, we are now underway. Map number 3. This is it. This is for all the marbles. Well, not all the. It's for like metaphorically all the marbles. All the marbles will be given out tomorrow when the grand finals hit for $3,000. It's a prize pool, and it looks like Area of Effect wants that prize pool. Look how fast they're coming down long already with Neon and company ready for the defensive maneuvers.
Yeah, the push is strong as well. The attackers make their way on site. The defenders are pushed off. And this Viper Orb is actually going to cause a lot of issues as Paint sticks right one. Should find the second. Meanwhile, on the other side of the site, the other three get mowed down as well. I mean, that's just W key warriors on the attack side right now. As they just run the defense down.
Yeah. Area of effect again. I mean, it's. Let me reiterate. It's only round one. It's first half. There's still plenty of game to be had, but area of effect again coming out of the gate very strong. We saw that on Haven. They were on attack. It was more or less expected for them to be that strong, but to see them now transferring into this game, it's really a question of are they going to be able to keep that momentum up mentally? Because physically we're in a whole nother game, but mentally they just came off a win, so they're feeling a little strong. And Silk Road is feeling very vengeful. They need this map. They need it. It's 1-1 in this series. They got to close it out. And it fully depends right here on Pearl. Neon gets taken out before they even appear on his screen. Monsi is already hanging out and bragging with a classic and a dream as CJ can plant bomb. The right click to the brain of Pyro. Shuts down any hopes of that controller gaining backside access. And now Dim Sum Boy with two teammates at the side. Are they going to be able to get this retake underway here? Oh, that's unfortunate.
So unfortunate. Also, why does my classic not do that? Absolutely insane.
Right.
Monsi gets at least into a slightly winnable situation, but they're playing this post plan really, really well. Playing off around pillar. They already have the rifle advantage. Those sheriffs are in the defense's hands, but they know what they want to do. They're not going to try to feed kills, money into the pockets of these attackers, so they are just going to sit right on top of that spike as it goes off, get that lost streak bonus gold, get the ultimate points for the death as well, and just go into round 3, hoping that they can pull this bonus into their favor. Really good stuff from the attacking side. That aggression for them, it's really interesting. I mean, I spoke about how the attacking composition started off on the defense, so they're not going to be amazing in this half, but I mean, this defensive composition, the W key warriors on attack right now seemingly are just overwhelming anything they can do over on B.
Yeah, this map is it's not set up like Haven whatsoever. I mean, it's whether or not it's attack side or defense side, it's a lot more balanced than what we just saw. And it was a very dominant showing from Area of Effect on Haven, but so far they are keeping that up just a little bit. Again, 2 rounds, plenty of game. This is still anyone's match, but and the crazy part is it's still anyone's series because it's 1-1 in the series. Again, if you are just joining us, Silk Road took map number 1, which was split, which was actually their pick. Area of Effect picked Haven for some reason. Silk Road felt comfortable starting on defense. It bit them right in the butt. And Area of Effect took map number 2, I should say, which was Haven. Now we're here at Pearl deciding here. CJ and company doing a lot of aggression towards B site. Bomb looking for a plant here. I'm scared.
I'm getting deja vu here.
Yeah.
The attackers, Area of Effect yet again. It's 4-2 up.
Look at this.
Bonus.
Look at this huddle.
The exact same thing. They're just gonna play for this post plan. The game plan is clear for these attackers, especially now that they have rifles in hand. Sure, Glyph and Fletcher have Vandals themselves, but it's a 4v2, and they have enough utility to stall this out. I mean, they're gonna have some wicked. Oh my God! Look at that setup on the top of Belong. The KJ util, the Viper util, the turret. I mean, it's smart move from the defense as they are just going to save these rifles. The attack seemed to have area. I was gonna say the attack area of effect. Just seemed to have a number of Silk Road.
CJ's hunting. Oh, not able to seal the deal. I mean, they took the round, so that's all you really need. But unfortunately, CJ is not able to capture kill number 2 on the board. But nonetheless, Area of Effect continue the dominance that we love to see here. Love to see it. Haven was a mess. Haven was an absolute mess. I know I've talked about it every round so far. Haven was not what Silk Road needed, and this is their chance to not only seal the deal and continue on in this tournament, but also prove that they know what they're doing. Because for some reason, they picked a start on the defensive, and I just can't get over that. But nonetheless, this is their moment to prove that they do deserve to be here and that they want this $3,000 prize pool all to themselves. That's not really how it works, but either way. But Area of Effect, again, the dominant for sure coming out in a very slow push here towards A. Last 3 rounds have just been straight down B long. And finally, AoE starting to switch it up a little bit, playing a little slower towards A site. Sean Dex gets his hand ripped off by Fletcher, who was just ready and waiting, sitting in art. I'm
Very
scared.
well read. Meanwhile, over in main, Kane does find the equalizer, spots out Glyph, or not Glyph, Dim Sum as well, who does find one. Fletcher finds his second one in arm. Makes this very winnable for the defense, though there are still 2 very heavily wounded defenders here, and Neon is by a bangable wall, so we'll see what happens. Spike is on site. I don't think they're really in a position to try to get this off, especially not with only 30 seconds left. The Spike will go down. Cove is still up miraculously. That will give some information. Will be spotted. Neon barely dodging those bullets. Matrix in the house, and Vix needs to do the most, but Neon sitting in Strange will be able to secure it. That's the first round on the board. The 2 rifles that were saved from the last round doing the most in round number 4.
We call that a hero rifle.
Yes.
I don't know. But do they? Cool.
Yeah.
I totally, I heard the term, but I wasn't 100% sure if I used it correctly. It's fine. It's fine. Again, map number 3 is turning out to be an interesting one. Area of Effect, pretty dominant early.
Oh, interesting. We're seeing that operator get picked up.
I just accidentally deafened myself. It's
I was like, am I lagging or are you lagging?
no, that was all
good.
me. My hand hit the button and just, that was unfortunate. But Neon, oh my God! They shot him a lifetime. Couldn't do that again if he tried. With G Fuel in his system, the head of paint is somewhere in Narnia. That thing went flying, and I don't care who wins this game because Neon just won all of our hearts. But Area of Effect left to pick up the pieces from that death, because that duelist going down early is not the best thing to be had on the attack. Dim Sum Boy taking some shots, forced to back off that angle. A lot of attention now dealing towards a main, maybe a hit here, but they do still have time to rotate back to B if they so desire.
Yeah, and they're actually not going to spot this Viper with that knife either, so very nice. They don't get any information off of it. They're now leaning over towards A. The time is ticking, though. 40 seconds left on the clock means that they really don't have time to rotate off, but the defense is set up here, but that's going to be the Arbor ultimate invested. The walls go down, and the attackers are trying to push through, but there's so much utility that they can't even make their way on the site. CJ finally finds a way through, but is taking a duel with Fletcher. Spike will finally go down. Flash comes through. CJ finds one before getting traded out. That knife not silencing anyone. The attack is still in a really good spot. But the Killjoy is going to be invested by the defense. The Spike is only planted for long, so the 2 players sitting towards Art and Connector are not going to be very useful. And Pyro is going to try to stay on site and fight this, but will eventually fall. Find Big Cliff. Now Vix is the last one standing. It's not planted for him. He needs to find something, some entry, and he's just not going to be able to. There we go. He's going to have to save. They will bring the rifle into the next round as the defense do exactly what they need to bring this back 2-3. We're seeing fight yet again coming out from Silk Road.
Oh, yeah. I don't think there's been a single moment where Silk Road fully gave up. Haven was rough. They were on a very big loss streak. The first round was 8-0. But they're not going to let that happen again. They know what a shutout that was. They don't want to experience that again. They're going to bring everything they have to the table that is Pearl, and hopefully be able to get a lot more done, to be honest, in terms of rounds and economy. And at the moment, they had a rough start, but now they're starting to get their grip once more. They're starting to pull back just a little bit, close that gap, and open up that window of opportunity. Because at the moment, it's just a 1-round deficit. Area of Effect has been very strong, to say the least. And Dim Sum Boy and company have just been a little rough in the first half, but now with two rounds under the belt, not only do they have the money, they have the economy, or excuse me, not only do they have the economy, but they have the weapons, the rifles to support them. And now it's a full A hit. It looks like Dim Sum Boy basically on their own. Never mind, I completely lied to you. Fletcher's right next to him. I don't know what's happening, but CJ's planting the bomb, and now the retake is underway for the defenders.
Yeah, absolutely. Dim Sum finding that kill after just trying to shoot the Seekers, finds the kill behind it. Very unfortunate for the attack, but like you said, the spike is down, but the defenders are in a really good spot. I think, though, on this flank could be the end of them, but they do need to make their way quickly. Neon with the operator, not in the best position. They are on the retake. Pyro falls, Glyph, though Paint finally gets into the sight for the flank, whips the shots on the blades, though, brings it to a 2v2, though. Neon now finally dropping the operator, 2v2, 1-for-1, CJ needs to do it all, it's halved, but no, Neon can't do it, CJ closes it with a 3K.
That was heartbreaking. Paint had every advantage. I mean, it ended up, they won the round. But Paint was that was so unfortunate. We've seen them do a similar flank multiple times tonight in this series, and it usually works out. But that was they got one kill, got the Blade Storm online, popped it, and just threw every knife they had right into I believe the back of Dim Sum Boy's thighs, and it just didn't do what they need. I swear that dude ate 4 knives and it didn't do anything. But nonetheless, Area of Effect taking it right back, regaining the dominant control they once had, and Neon is to thank for a huge part of Silk Road still being in this.
Yeah, finding one off the bat, then followed by the Hunter's Fury, make it 2! That's a nice shot as they all fall 1-for-1, and now Paint did a lot for their team in the last round. Will find one, but will fall, as that is another round going for the defenders. It's scrappy. This map is nothing like Haven. This is far more like the split map, where neither team is willing to give a foot of space. They're just fighting for inches at this point, and we are going to see that timeout come through for the attack. Notable because they're actually up right now. Area of Effect. Yeah. I think they're at a point where they're just trying to find more of an advantage rather than trying to end any momentum, which I think is a good play when this has been such a close series.
Yeah, I mean, those first 3 wins that AoE have was strictly a B push every time. It was almost all 5 of them just strutting down B long, flexing their thighs and whatnot, and they would just take sight, and that was it. As soon as they switched to try to do the same thing at A, they lost 2 in a row. As soon as they go back to B, they win another one. Go back to A, they lost it again. A pattern has presented itself. I think that's the case. I could be wrong on that, but a pattern is presenting itself. And at the moment, Area of Effect, Silk Road is picking up on that pattern. They're starting to re-strengthen their setups towards B side. It looks like we have more presence mid a little bit in this round, but they could still change. There's some time before the round starts. But all in all, like you said, this is definitely a lot more like Split, where Split was just neck and neck the whole damn time. Haven was a shutout, and now we're on a more balanced map where neither team is wanting to give up that space.
Yeah, I just happened to be looking over at the stream for a second and saw the replay of the whiffed knives, and man, that's gotta hurt. But as we get into this round, they are actually leaning over towards A. Yet again, they were able to secure at least one round here, though it was very sketchy. So interesting to see them play again. Instead, they're going to be going for a more default setup. The Killjoy will be spotted in mid, though, but they're going to pull back. Right now, they're just teasing this defense, letting them know where 1, maybe 2 players are, throwing some utility at them. Neon will get spotted with the operator, though. That will give the attack a lot of information. It looks like maybe we just go into a B-Link hit here. Trailblazer and the Harbor Wall going to be used at the exact same time, but Dim Sum's got the utility. That's half already for the attacking Killjoy, but they're going to have to invest in the Sky healing to bring her back up to full. And this has been slow and steady, but time's ticking. There's only 25 seconds left on the clock here.
Yep. just like the new app the millennials use, is ticking, talking. The whip shot from Neon. Oh, connects with Sean Dix barely, but unfortunately gets traded out by CJ in the process. Just 10 seconds left. Is CJ barely going to be able to get Bomb down? Dim Sum Boy. No, Bomb has not been. Confirm the plant. Confirm the plant. There we go. Barely able to get the bomb down, but Fletcher and Monsi not allowing much to come of it. They got the money for the plant, but they're not going to take the round. And Silk Road finally going to close that gap 4-4. It's tied up. We saw the same thing on Split, where it was just a little rough, and then the tie came through finally at the end of the half, 6-6. And now we're starting to see that repeat again. We're starting to see both teams take a little bit of a lead, but also they're able to pull it right back. So far in this game, 3 rounds is the biggest lead we've had. But unfortunately, this game isn't all about kills. There's a lot to understand about creating space and your retakes and the angles that you should peak as well as economy and the cohesion between you and your team. And if you're not perfectly in sync, you're gonna have a bad time. And so far, all 10 pretty damn in sync, Soren. Pretty in sync.
Yeah, absolutely. The defense reading that round absolutely well as well. Completely shutting off that lurk from Paint, though Paint did find one. A little bit of chat in the lobby as well about how Paint somehow was able to find 1 kill in that rough situation last round. It's always entertaining. But as we get into this round, we're seeing the utility dump already. The Killjoy lockdown already being invested by this attack side. That is going to push the defense back, but it's also going to cause a rotation. Everyone seems to be here. The spike is finally going to get planted. The harbor wall going to drop at a very unfortunate time, but Sky is able to get away, and the attack is actually going to be playing for a post plant. Trades coming through a piece.
Nothing but Rainbow in the kill feed. Glyph picks up 2, a third to Paint. What a beautiful shot onto Paint. 1 versus 3. Shondex, this is the man to do it, but unfortunately Fletcher gonna put a stop to it pretty damn quick. Now 4-5, turning to 4-4, turning to 5-4. I know how to count. It's fine. I definitely passed Algebra 3 on the first try. But no, but Silk Road starting to what I don't really know what to say here. They're not starting to get a grip here. They've had a grip the last couple rounds, but they're gaining a lead finally, and that's a lot more than they did on Haven. They didn't have a single moment on Haven where they were not in control. They lost Haven pretty hard, is what I'm trying to say. And now they're back with a vengeance. They want to make sure that does not happen again. And AOE is pulling out all the stops to ensure that this is a 2-1 series in Area of Effect's favor.
Yeah, it's a little bit unfortunate here for the attack side. They did invest that timeout earlier into this half, so they don't have it on hand anymore, and they actually have not really been able to secure any extra rounds since that. But as we get into this one, it's a full-on fight on A site. It finds one with the Bladestone before getting shot down with a shock dart from Glyph. The Cove is going to go out. Monty's going to kind of spray through the wall to find it, but the Cove is going to protect him. Sova drones get a spot at least 3. The Viper's Pit as well being invested. It's an absolute chaos scene on A. Finally, the calamity comes down. Pyro is sitting in with the Judge, and the defense are going to have to do a lot to push through here, especially as these attackers are still in the smoke. Neon with the flank. The operator can't help in the retake, but will shut down the push from main. Pyro gets spotted. They know the check up, and Glyph finds a third and a second. Make it a 4th. Coming alive to secure it.
Wow. Glyph has just shown up and shown off this map. 13-6 at the moment. Hunter's Fury now online. I mean, Glyph has just been that at the moment, the royal one, the king of just multi-kills at this point. I believe either last round or round before had 3 in a row, and then that was 4. Glyph definitely knows how to play this game, and I'm very happy about that because I love Soba as a character, and I'm glad that Glyph is bringing positive attention to such an incredible initiator. The same cannot be said for Monty, unfortunately. Double negative at the bottom as an initiator, not where you want to be. I'm going to be extra hard on you, Monty, because you took my KO and I'm watching you. But at the moment, 6-4. Best case scenario for area of effect to tie it up at a 6-6 for this half. And at the moment, it's not looking impossible, but it's going to be hard. It's going to be a difficult pull back to just these two more rounds, just based on Silk Road's economy. I mean, Glyph is almost max money, 77,000 credits under the belt. Neon approaching 7. They have the money. Lose this round, it's fine. They're gonna have enough money for the rest of the half. So area of effect, they have to pull out all the stops here. I just slapped my mic with a pen. I apologize, but area of effect's got to go big here.
It looks like they're gonna be trying to go for an A hit through Art. Noticeably a little bit interesting. Monzi does find one. Will take a lot of space up in main. Fletcher as well doing the most. The Hunter really gets his best hit, but it doesn't matter because again, it's a massacre on site. One by one, they're taken down. I think Dim Sum Boy finds 2 there. I mean, now it's a 7-5 half at best, but this has been a really, really strong half from this defense.
Yeah, Silk Road. This is a completely different team than what we saw on Haven.
Yeah.
I mean, the mental set here is just completely opposite of what we saw. If we check the replay here, we saw nothing but chaos on site, per usual, right? A lot of the times on the retakes, it's just all hell breaking loose. But unfortunately, in that one, an ultimate, a serious ultimate from Silk Road was invested into that round, and nothing came of it. Glyph, unfortunately, now no longer has that Hunter's Fury, but Dim Sum Boy and Fletcher both still have their ultimate. So this is definitely still doable round, especially since we're talking about the economy, the mindset that they're in. They are here to kick butt, to take vengeance, and something about bubblegum. But Glyph and company, they've just been so solid this round. Like you said, it's just dominance right now. But they have to keep it up. And Neon, with the op, is going to continue that reign of terror. Sean Dex completely disregarded, erased off the face of the earth. Neon capitalizing with a shorty, but Pyro finally going to put an end to that reign of terror down mid. 40 seconds on the clock. Bomb has to get planted here, but instead it's going to be a full rotate. Now suddenly it's Vix and a 1 versus 4. Spike on the back. One Cove and a Dream, but Fletcher catches him from behind, and there we go, ladies and gentlemen. Silk Road turning the tables 8-4 in the half as we're switching sides.
I don't like it. That was a weird play. They got B site. They pushed the defense completely off site. They were in a really good spot here. The Astra wall was also invested, cut off.
They didn't need to rotate.
They absolutely did not, but they pushed through mid like you see in this replay, and they just get punished for it. I think it was just way too overzealous. I think they definitely should have gotten the plant down, especially because that was what was working. They were playing really good on the post plant in the first couple rounds of the half. That, I think, was just a tragic misplay, maybe even a miscommunication coming out.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think it's a miscommunication, or even either not enough communication or way too much communication. Because when you have 5 people yelling in the same call, wires get crossed, mistakes happen. Unfortunately, I think that's just what happened there. But at the moment, the attackers splitting off. Silk Road splitting off. I think they're more so looking for information here. They're playing very quiet, very slow. They left Spike back in spawn just to see where they want to go here. And at the moment, all 10 are still up. Very little information to be had for either side. So Monty going to go ahead and gather that exploding triangle as Pyro start to take shots down mid here. This is a scary situation for Area of Effect to be in. This is the first time in a while that they've been at a deficit, and they really need to come back from this.
Yeah, no, they really need to find somewhere to claw themselves back in. And I will note here, we're at 40 seconds now on the clock. The attack need to do something. And the defense is just going to stack a site and hope they're correct, and it will absolutely be correct. They also have the Viper wall in the
30
exact
seconds left.
correct place as well. And there we go. The shots are going to be heard as they are going to spot the one in back halls. Pyro's going to get hit by that silence. And now the attackers are just going to try to push through the site. Monzi finds the opener on Sean Dex. The Killjoy utility is gone. Pyro is still in the back hall, causing damage. And one by one,
Oh my
Spike
God.
brings
10
through.
seconds left.
Glyph, the last one standing, needs to find Spike, needs to get it down, and needs to find a way of securing this. And they're not going to do it. And poor Glyph, Flash surrounded, is just going to stand there and accept fate. As that is now the 5th round on the board, and Area of Effect fire back starting off this half quite well.
That was such a nice position for Area of Effect to be in, because all they had to do those last couple seconds, once you get to usually 30 or 40 seconds on the clock, your main job on the defense is just to play time. Throw your abilities at them, shoulder peek every now and then, but you don't have to fully commit to an angle for a while, and really until Spike is planting, because as long as you're making noise and you're doing something to distract them, they have to deal with you rather than plant Spike. So just slow that down and you'll get the job done. And that's exactly what CJ and I believe that was Vix. CJ was accompanied by somebody, but that's exactly what they did. They just played time and you were able to capture the round. Speaking of capturing, we will no longer see Neon. He's become a prisoner of war with a headshot from a bulldog from Vix. A very unfortunate situation, but now 8-5 in the half, like we said. Just over a minute on the clock, and it looks like B is the target.
Yeah, and that will spot them out, that Killjoy turret, giving away so much information. That's going to cause the wall to go up as well.
Caution,
It's going to
here,
cause a little
right
bit of a
here.
rotation coming
Not
out from
ready
the
yet.
defense. And maybe hoping that there's a small rotation off. If they go quiet, won't do though. Payne sitting around the corner, finds one.
Oh
Doesn't
my
matter
goodness.
Because just a presence alone is going to be enough to just cause the attackers to swing one by one by one and fall one by one. As that is the anti-eco now going into the defense area of effect, slowly bringing it back. Only 2 rounds down here. And this is a much better series so far, especially as compared to Haven. I would not be surprised, and call it Caster's Curse. I love doing this. I could see an overtime here. I could see it.
Oh, for sure. I mean, we're gonna predict it like we did on Split, and then it didn't happen like it did on Split. So I mean, you know, but again, it's very possible that we see. We're still early in the second half, so it's very possible that that was the last round that Area of Effect gets in this game. It's entirely doable that Silk Road just takes this one 13-6, but just based on how AoE has been playing, I don't think it's going to happen because it's been pretty dominant on the side of Silk Road, but AoE has not given up yet. They were able to close the gap from 8-4 to 8-6. We're seeing a completely different team in Silk Road than we saw on Haven, but basically the exact same from the Split. 2 very different maps. Now we're back on that more balanced side of things, and Silk Road is just so solid so far, but AoE, don't count them out just yet.
Oh, interesting. The harbor wall is going to be invested by this defensive side, cutting off A main rather early, just off of the presence of some Astra stars, but they're going to be a fake out. The rest of the team of the attack is making their way over towards B, either through long or looking to possibly take this connector
30
space.
seconds left.
That's going to be rather rough, as now missing that harbor wall. As well, Neon, he's going to spot out the Killjoy utility, making this a nice, easy site to take. The defense is pushed back entirely. They need to take these fights and they need to win them. Kane finds one, Pyro as well, and the defense comes up
Spike down,
clutch.
B.
This is their bonus round too.
10 seconds
They
left.
should not be in the advantageous position, but they absolutely are. Is now 2 attackers left standing. This is yet again, I think, going to be a bonus round going into the hands of the team that won the first 2 rounds. That's very scary. It's going to be only hero rifles now in the hands of Dim Sum Boy and Fletcher, as they're going to try to hold off this re-aggression coming out from Area of Effect.
Yeah, I do want to say, all throughout the series, we have seen some incredible rotates, especially on Haven. We saw one that really stood out to me where I believe it was Area of Effect was taking a site, and Glyph and Neon, I believe, or Glyph and Monsi were just perfectly in sync. They rotated, they read AoE like a damn book, and they were able to just rotate perfectly and just shut down that A-side push, and I think they ended up losing that round, but the rotates tonight have been insane. These guys know how to read each other. These teams know how each other thinks. That's the thing. They they're very similar in that they know how to communicate with each other. They know every ins and outs of the game, and at the end of the day, it's interesting to say the absolute least. 8-7 is your score line. Silk Road a little rough in the second half. Not gonna lie.
Yeah, no, looking a little bit dead in the water, though. They are at an advantage in the current spot. Or actually, no, they're not. My apologies. I'm looking at the wrong side. Area of effect firmly with 5 member left standing. The attackers through the wall. CJ with a clean shot from the Bulldog. Check the PC. Pyro swings. Finds one the first time. The second time. It's 8-8. The hero rifle's not doing enough. They are going to be able to full buyout again here, but now after having a pretty solid first half, they're dropping them again. Though I will also mention that Area of Effect had a good start to this game. They were up 4-2, then it kind of collapsed. So there's still a lot of room here for Silk Road to claw back in. The Area of Effect, they're looking really strong right now.
Both teams are. That's the thing. Even though Area Effect has had 4 in a row, like you said, 4-2 was the score line, and then all of a sudden they just dropped the ball and they lost 6 rounds in a row. And then we transferred into the second half where they're now on defense, and it's looking a little eerily similar, but at the same time, it's all tied up. So anything could happen at this point. There's still plenty of game to be had. So the fact that, again, like Split, we're seeing them neck and neck, this could really turn into something insane here. Or, again, it's live. Anything could happen. We could totally see Area of Effect just take it from here out. We've seen crazier, Soren. I know you and I have seen absolute dominance, and both teams tonight have put that on display.
Yeah, absolutely. It's anyone's ball game right now, and these attackers actually have a bit of an advantage. The defense is pushed all the way up through mid, making their way into the attacker spawn. Would, in theory, cut them off if they were still playing this default, but there's 35 seconds left on the clock. The attackers are already making their way towards site. So much utility is being used. A little bit unfortunate.
30
There's not a
seconds left.
defender a mile of site. But oh no, they're gonna try to play for post plant, and the defenders are making their way through, so they're gonna run right into each other, but they're peeking one by one. Monty and Neon find one apiece. The harbor wall gets through to try to stop it, but Glyph, so unfortunate that the defense could have done something there, wrapped around, but they just accidentally run head first into these attackers, and now Shondex has pulled 1v3s out of their hat in the past, but this site can be considered hell in this situation. It's so difficult to win here, especially on this map, on this site. And it looks like as the spike ticks down, Shondex is just gonna take the advantage of having a rifle next round and sprint away, as they are yet again going to have to settle for a hero rifle, losing. Ooh.
That's very unfortunate for AoE here. And again, that comes back to the post plant defense, or even just regular defense. Your main goal is to just play time. And that's exactly what Silk Road did. They planted the bomb, and then my dog yawned. I don't know if you heard that or not, but that was adorable. I'm sorry.
Absolutely was.
But
Highlight of the night right there.
but Silk Road uh made me lose my train of thought. Why are you so cute? Um but Silk Road got the bomb planted and immediately backed off site, and they didn't really peek anything. They just did a couple shoulder peeks, threw a couple abilities here, a couple shock darts, hit the bomb, just to get Shondex to, you have to deal with us before you even try to defuse bomb, because you're at the numbers disadvantage. That site is pretty horrible for retakes, I'm not gonna lie. So at the end of the day, that was just in the favor of Silk Road at that point. Now we're at 9-8, and
It looks like we have a little bit
what?
of a tech pause, and one of
Oh,
the players needs to charge their mouse, unfortunately. So it's gonna be a few minute tech pause. I think we're expecting
Oh
Um,
man.
yeah, it looks like we're expecting a little bit of a 2-minute delay here. A little
It's okay.
unfortunate. It's
That's
fine.
okay.
I mean, technical
You know what?
difficulties.
It's no, it's not fine. That's why you don't play with a wireless mouse. What is wrong with you? Who was that? Who
See,
is that?
that's why you get like what I have, which it can be wireless, but you can also just plug it in and use it. You
Yeah,
know,
like
sometimes functionality is
I get the
important, you know?
wire. Exactly. I get the wire. I get my wire caught all the time. It sucks, the cord. I don't know why I'm
It's
calling it a wire.
annoying.
The cord
Yeah.
sucks. It's obnoxious, but I deal with it because I don't want to do this. I don't want to have to. Hold on. Let me charge my mouse real quick. I'm putting you on blast, Monzi. What is why? You out of all the options, you get a mouse for like $20, but no, you sprung for the extra $15 and just so you could have no cord. Ah, I look what you're. No, I'm. It's fine. Everything. I love you. Anyways, um, what were we talking about again? The game, right? Something about Pearl.
Yeah. Looking at the current game state as we are, preparing to get a little bit back into it. Game state is still quite even, actually. Area of effects. Unfortunately, we're not able to keep the streak alive. Finally, losing around there, but they're still in a really good position. The economy is firmly still in place. Paint now with the operator. We saw how much value Neon got with it. So now seeing Paint pick it up, and Paint hasn't had the best series, but again, in the series just prior to this was the standout star. So maybe with this operator, they can cause a lot of damage. And unfortunately, though, they are going to put some pressure on the mid, but these attackers are just going to throw everything they've got at A. His ultimates as well as both the Hunter's Fury and the Null Command get invested. There's no one even on site to run it into. So now these defenders are in a really awkward position. They do have a full buy, but they're going to have to slowly make their way through. 3 coming through the flying through A main. There's 2 attackers. They're waiting, 1 through art and 1 through main.
Kobe.
Unfortunately, not gonna find anything. Fletcher only taking a little bit of damage, but Paint finds opening proceedings. Same with Vix, as A main is now opened up.
Oh, Shondex. Oh, Shondex and Pyro. Basically 2v1 in the situation. Paint gonna go ahead and Avatar the last airbend his way through that wall and do some damage onto the attackers, and the retake comes through all tied up. And I do want to say, I'm not 100% sure that it was Monzi. I think Monzi was the one that typed that they needed a text pause, so I just kind of assumed based on my context clues, but I could be wrong. It might have been Glyph. I don't know. But at the end of the day ends, and it's all tied up here on Pearl. This is the last shot, Soren. This is it. Last map of the night. We made it to map number 3 in the second series of the day. And whoever takes this series we're going to see them move on to the grand finals tomorrow. Or, well, not to the grand, they're going to move on tomorrow. They're going to do some stuff. And then later the grand finals. Yeah, you and I will come back for the grand finals tomorrow. But again, don't miss it tomorrow. We're back here on the same Twitch channel. Make sure you follow. Make sure you get all the information that you need to get at Team Mystic Gaming or MysticGamingNA.com. I know things. Paint again has been so impressive with the operator. The shorty as well picks up Fletcher on the way down, but Monzi gonna solidify the hold and the plant here at the site. And now it's Shondex, the Killjoy, the killer of joys, the rat joy, if you will, in a 1 versus 3. But Monzi, 10 HP. And a Dream going to go ahead and solidify 10-9 as the score. And area of effect, you only got a little bit of wiggle room here, my guy. You have to move. You got to do something.
Oh, I have to point this out coming from Silk Road here. I know I gave my predictions. Neon was like the top frag and the standout star over their first series of the day, and you had Vix over on the side of not After Effects. I almost said it too. Area of
Dude,
Effects.
right? Okay,
But
I'm glad it's
man,
not just me.
man, Glyph yet again dropping 21 kills for Silk Road in this game. Paint finally coming alive, top of their team. but Pyro is still putting up numbers. Both of these teams are showing that these are not one-man rosters. Everyone has come to play. It's been an all-out brawl, especially as this is a nice response coming out from Silk Road, finally taking the advantage back into their favor, but hasn't fully done all the damage to the economy. So Area of Effect still in this. They still have a full buy operator still in the hands of Paint. There's a lot of aggression coming out from Art and in mid for the attackers, but the defense is not going to over-rotate. They still have this 2-1-2 setup with the Harbor technically leaning a little bit towards mid. They're in a really good position to rotate at any point. The attackers now, with only 40 seconds left on the clock, are going to make their way over towards A. There's no operator here, so they don't have to worry about getting picked off immediately, luckily for them, but the operator's going to have to be worried about for the retake. Now these attackers are
30
going to
seconds
slowly
left.
make their way. They're going to have to
Scared.
explode through the wall.
Yep, there we go. I was about to say both controllers have their ultimates here. Pyro and Vix both popped the Reckoning and the Viper's Pit. Unfortunately, neither did anything, except the Reckoning did a little bit to force them off of site, but Bomb has been dropped.
10 seconds left.
Quick recovery for Neon and for Fletcher. Now in a 2 versus 2, CJ to solidify that. And no matter what there, Fletcher wasn't going to be able to get the bomb back on that Plansky. And they're going to go ahead and tie it up 10-10. And I got to give it to Paint and Company. They have just been so solid bringing it back. And it wasn't a huge deficit, right? It wasn't a ginormous deficit heading into this half. It was 8-4. But the fact that they were able to, pull it back and continue and not only take a little bit of a control a few moments there, but, they're tying it up once again. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, CJ being so smart in that last round too, flashing through and knowing exactly where to check. But here in this round, Paint's played so far up with the operator. Will finally kill. Who's on the shorty, but will finally get taken down. Neon finds it. This Sim boy, excuse me,
Vix
does find 2, but Vix responds in kind. And now Shondex on site, holding down the fort. And Monzi, the last attacker left standing. The economy not in a great spot. They need to win this out. Did pop the null command already, and it's already gone through, so they have no backup. Though they will take that one-on-one. Shondex falls, and they're right next to each other. They're about to run head first into it. It's all about timing in this game, and Vic is the one to come out on top. 3K in the round as they secure the 11th round, and with this economy, in theory, I don't want to caster curse it, but they're in a really good spot to take us to map and series point here.
Dude, just throw the caster curse out the window. This has become, it's become walking under a ladder, a black cat, breaking a mirror, everything that could happen has happened. We're just, at this point, it's fine. It's just a mess either way. But 11-10 is your scoreline. Area of Effect, I don't know, I almost said After Effects again. But Area of Effect, looking very, very good on the economical side of things. Neon got scared of the smoke and decided to shoot it. I think he saw a ghost or something, I'm not really sure. He saw a roach in the corner, I don't know. But 120 on the clock, it looks like a full A push here for the attackers. Silk Road, they're working off a minimal bias here. They have 2 rifles on the board, and one of those is a Bulldog. But it doesn't matter because Glip has a Sheriff and a Dream, but unfortunately only able to get one. Shondex with a quick trade. Vix does the same, and now it's Neon in a 1 versus 2. Picks up Vix and gets shut down very, very quick-like. And now suddenly, ladies and gentlemen, we have once more reached match point. Area of Effects. The Area of Effect needs 1. They need 1. That is it. Silk Road needs 3 to stay in it.
Yeah, it's a little unfortunate. Silk Road had a really good start, but this comeback from Area of Effect, maybe it was a little bit down and out. It was really strong start from Silk Road, especially after taking a little bit of a massive L on Haven, coming back, getting into this game, but After Effects refused to go down. I believe
A little bit of a
just...
massive L. Love that.
Yeah.
Just a smidge.
Ooh, Paint with his operator in a really good spot, though. They got right the wrong location. Excuse me, I'm losing my words.
The location,
Becky. Does get spotted. They don't check the corner.
Oh, rookie mistakes. but it's
There's
okay
two-
because it
only
got
one for
picked
one.
up. Yeah,
There's only a
it's
1-for-1 Vix.
quick trades. Everything's fine. Everything's
Slowly.
fine.
You should run.
Everything's fine.
Lockdown is going to be invested by the attack. They're trying everything they can. There's no time to hold these ultimates. Fletcher swings through, does find one, brings it to a 4v2. They're in an advantageous position. Oh no, they're both locked down. No, please don't. Okay, they get him.
Oh,
If they allowed that to happen.
I was so skeptical, honestly. that would. Oh, anyways, with the amount of curses we've been throwing around here tonight, I wouldn't be surprised if the timing was like totally in favor of AOE. But unfortunately, it was not in that situation, and we're right back at it. Silk Road. This is just a game of tug of war, man. This is like Split. It was just a game of tug of war, and then in terms of rope, Haven. I mean, I don't even want to go into that metaphor. It'll get dark really quick, but we're still at match point. AOE definitely, I wouldn't say in control, but at a advantage. And until they did that, what pain? Come on, man. What was that?
They're one round away from tying it up and bringing us to overtime as well. So losing that, losing that is not amazing. It was only
Yeah.
a judge, so it wasn't at least giving them, a weaponry. But we're now at the point of the game where that doesn't really quite matter. And Neon with the Blade Storm is going to be popped. They're going to try to swing through, but they're running through so much utility. Vix finally gets the kill on the weakened Monzi. And there's so much util getting dumped. The Harbor ultimate is also going to push them back. The attack now has to reevaluate their situation. They could go for a rotate, but it looks like they're just going to wait, sit in the corner, and see what happens.
They have the Killjoy turret watching flank, so they could just sit here all day. I mean, not really, because they have 40 seconds before they need to plant, but, they know no one's coming on the flank. All they got to do is watch that one angle.
A little bit strange, all firing off that
You want to
confirms
fight
there's
it!
multiple on site. Didn't get a lot of
30
time
seconds left.
to actually allow them to rotate off, so the defense is still there. They're going to invest into the Astra ultimate as well. Neon is so weak, they're going to get flashed through. CJ can't find the kills though.
Oh my goodness.
It just
It's
shot
all
him.
up-
Oh, get through it. Overtime.
Overtime, the first of the series. This couldn't be more appropriate. I mean, the first map went in the way of Silk Road. Map number 2 to Area of Effect. I mean, it could not be more appropriate for this to go into overtime. And here we are. I know a lot of these players are probably exhausted mentally and physically. They're probably snorting G Fuel at this point just to stay awake, stay in the game. And hopefully it's worth it. Hopefully it's worth it, because at the moment it's just great. Honestly, I love watching games like this. I love watching the competitiveness come out of these players, because you have those moments where they're just kind of lackadaisical about certain situations, and then I feel like you can really tell when a team or even just a handful of players decides, okay, we need to get this done. We need to turn on whatever we have, and we need to get it done now. And suddenly both teams are having that same thought process. So Paint and Company looking for a hard charge down B link straight to B site with bomb on the back. Dim Sum Boy, the Sentinel, and the controller ready and waiting for this angle. Beautifully holding it, but Vix with a quick trade. Dim Sum one for his own. Vix again with the trade. 3 versus 3. Bomb's gonna get planted here now.
Vix gets spotted out by Neon, brings it to a 3v2. They have the advantage, and now it's just a waiting game. They need to find the kills. Paint sneaking up through Link. Won't find anyone there. Everyone's towards Nest and under. Pyro now stuck in this back halls. They got a crossfire almost, but it's gonna get spotted. Will almost die. Will finally fall. Thanks to the wallbang. Paint though, coming alive, finds 2, brings it to a 1v1. Jet versus Jet. Every flying Paint. Paint finds it.
Man, these two Jets have just
Switching
been,
sides.
Leonardo DiCaprio, who they've been putting on a performance every match. Neon and Paint. It doesn't matter if they're on Jet or if they're on Phoenix or whatever. We just get a timeout.
Yeah, we do. And interestingly enough, that's from Area of Effect, who just won that round. So
Strange.
again,
Oh, they need to charge their mouse.
Yes, absolutely need to charge their mouse, but it is a little bit weird. They have the advantage, so giving Silk Road time to think and strategize maybe not maybe the brightest, smartest option.
The
But it's also
what?
not the first time we've seen. I'm struggling here. It's getting
Brightest.
late for me as
Turned
well.
Australian for a second. The brightest.
But
It's fine.
I mean, it's not the second. It's not the first time. Excuse me. We've seen this. I'm having a stroke. I'm so sorry. Not the
We're
first
all
time we've
having
seen this
it's
today.
fatigue, dude. It's fatigue. The players are suffering. We're suffering. Our
It's
observer Ben is suffering. Our producer Ejinx, they're suffering, but they're keeping it
they're
together because
laughing
they're
at us.
professionals. It's fine. Oh yeah, no, they're both muted and they're laughing their butts off at us because we're the ones that have to talk and we have to continue to talk and talk and talk and our mouths don't want to do the thing, but our brains do. So it's like, or
Absolutely.
vice versa. I mean, I don't know, but I want this shop to be real, dude. Like, I want those comics in the background. Are those do those exist? These comic books?
It's
Because I would
player
100%.
cards. Can't even
I
see.
oh the player cards. Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
But I need actual comic books. I would love to see that come out of
Ooh.
Riot. But nonetheless, Paint leading the charge. I thought that hit. I
Me
thought it
too.
hit Soren. But Vix
Oh,
was the
that
one that captures the first kill. Suddenly 3 versus 5. Vix
Spike
to Monzi. This is for all the marbles. Area of effect need this round, and I think they might have it. They do. That is it. It is over. That is all she wrote for Pearl. 14-12 in overtime. Area of effect absolutely both teams, to be honest, both teams showing up, showing off, showing what they have in store for tomorrow. And unfortunately for Silk Roads, it's going to be area of effect to move on tomorrow to get yet another chance at the $3,000 slice of pie or slice of $3,000 pie. I don't know. So, what are your thoughts? You speak. You
I
talk.
mean, I don't know if I can, apparently. No, but a really, really good performance. Silk Road put up
Yeah.
a great fight here. At no point did it ever feel like they were down and out. They even brought it to overtime at the very end there. But area of effect, man, it just felt like on that, on that Pearl map, it just seemed like they really struggled on the attack. So
Yeah.
once they won that first attacking round on the overtime, it felt like a and done and concluded conclusion for them as they were just able to easily sweep them aside in that final round. We didn't even really get the chance to talk over it because it was so quick. But
Yeah.
man, both teams putting up a massive fight. But like you said, area of effect come out the victors, and they're gonna move on to tomorrow. It's gonna be a hell of a fight. I can't wait to see
Oh,
tomorrow.
for sure, it's definitely going to be one for the ages up there with watermelon and pumpkin. But to say the absolute least, that's going to be all for us tonight. It's been an absolute pleasure to cast alongside you, Soren Sorlin the Great. Again, our producer E Jinx and our observer, our man Ben over there. Or sorry, I go by Ben is the name, but yeah, either way, those guys have been professional. They've been phenomenal. They got the angles, they got the replays. They've been killing it. We wouldn't be able to do what we're doing. Soren and I wouldn't exist without Ejinx and Ben. So please give them some love in the chat, and of course, GG's to both teams. Area effect. Moving on tomorrow. Let's see who can solidify all that money. Is all that money? Because like what I forget what the exact. It's I think it's 1,200 goes to the winning team. I think it might be.
I
I
think maybe a little
just
bit
made that
over, but
number
it's a
up.
lot.
Yeah,
It's a lot of money.
I made that number up, but it's fine. But nonetheless, we're gonna go ahead and send it off for the night. Soren, thank you for joining me, and Team Mystic, thank you for having us tonight. We'll see you guys tomorrow. And again, everything is mysticgamingna.com. That's all you need to know for more information on tournaments, on merchandise, social media. Go check it out. We're also on VLR, so please give us a I don't know high five. I don't really know that much about VLR, but but nonetheless, thank you guys for watching, and we appreciate you so very much. And we'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Bye.